Hotness, CC, welcome to my stream. Let's have some fun, come enjoy some games with me. Coffee's almost ready, I've got the kettle on. Coffee keeps me sane, it keeps me going all day long. Pull the seat and stay a while, the fun's about to start. Hogwarts, Chibbis, Slytherin, the stream's got lots to bring you in. Werewolves, zombies, ghosts, let's go. All the things I like the most. Welcome to the stream. I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, silly beats, condemnation shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around. Baby might start crying, and then I'll be right back. Once he's good, we'll start again and have a little chat. Solo games or community night. Streaming's what I love, making friends a community for all misunderstood. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around. Baby might start crying, and then I'd be right back. Once he's good, we'll start again and have a little chat. Solo games or community night. Streaming's what I love, making friends a community for all misunderstood. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around. Horror games on repeat, dicks burping to chat. If you want to play with me, just whisper and relax. Sticks the crates to get me killed, the fun has just begun. Would you like to stay a while? Tell me about your style. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me screams. Coffee set, water's good, the games are all on. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's time to start, let's go. Hotness, CC, welcome to my stream. Let's have some fun, come enjoy some games with me. Coffee's almost ready, I've got the kettle on. Coffee keeps me sane, keeps me going all day long. Pull the seat and stay a while, the fun's about to start. Hogwarts, Chibbis, Slytherin, the stream's got lots to bring you in.
I said, coffee, right. I said, I really need coffee. As in, I really need coffee.
Go. All the things I like the most. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around. Baby might start crying, and then I'd be right back. Once he's good, we'll start again and have a little chat. Solo games or community night. Streaming's what I love, making friends a community for all misunderstood. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around. Baby might start crying, and then I'd be right back. Once he's good, we'll start again and have a little chat. Solo games or community night. Streaming's what I love, making friends a community for all misunderstood. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around. Horror games on repeat, dicks burping to chat. If you want to play with me, just whisper and relax. Sticks the crates to get me killed, the fun has just begun. Would you like to stay a while? Tell me about your style. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me screams. Coffee set, water's good, the games are all on. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's time to start, let's go. Hotness, CC, welcome to my stream. Let's have some fun. Come enjoy some games with me. Coffee's almost ready. I've got the kettle on. Coffee keeps me sane. It keeps me going all day long. Pull a seat and stay a while. The fun's about to start. Hogwarts, Chibbis, Slytherin. The stream's got lots to bring you in. Werewolves, zombies, ghosts, let's go. All the things I like the most. Welcome to the stream. I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos. It's fun all around. Baby might start crying, and then I'd be right back. Once he's good, we'll start again and have a little chat. Solo games or community night. Streaming's what I love, making friends, a community for all misunderstood. Welcome to the stream, I hope you like to hear me scream. Giveaways, jelly beans, condiment shots. Lots of crazy and chaos, it's fun all around.
Alright, let's switch over.
Baby might start crying.
Okay, bear with me, guys, because this is a whole new program.
Once he's good,
whole
we'll
new
start again and
one.
have a little chat. Solo games or community.
Happy Monday! Okay, let me go on up and say hello to everybody. Where are you? Hello. Hi, lady. Hi, Onyx. Hi, Mama.
I said, coffee, coffee, coffee.
Hi,
As in,
Faye.
I really need coffee,
Hi,
coffee, coffee.
Taxi. Hi, Shy. Hi, Pokemon. Hi, Moo Moo. Okay. Hi, Archer. Welcome on in, guys. How is everybody? I don't know if I should I have made the title streaming anniversary. Hi, Croissant. Should I have named it 2-year anniversary, or is it fine how it is, guys? You tell me. Y'all are the professional here, not me. Absolutely not me. Oh, speaking of not being professional, I forgot to set our first giveaway. Hold. Hold on. Hold on. Hold. Giveaway on. I can't see anything, so behave for a second. Giveaway on Twitch. Okay, hold on. I love how I absolutely forgot to start. Like, I was just like doing this too. I was literally like on here. And I was like, oh, I should probably like do the next one. And then I was like, just give me a second. And then I'll do it again. Like, I'll do it. Okay, $5 giveaway. Okay, so enter is exclamation point enter to get in. And then okay, all right, we should be good to go. Okay, exclamation point enter to join the giveaway. The first giveaway that we are doing is going to be $5. And this is how it's going to work. So Wednesday is my actual 2 years of hitting affiliate. Okay, so for any of you guys who was the OGs here, I started streaming at the end of July. And then August 5th, I hit affiliate. So Wednesday is going to be the big day. Wednesday, we're going to do 3 merch giveaways. I have one for a t-shirt, one for a desk mat.
Hi, I'm new here.
And then one for a coffee cup. Other people can also do giveaways for merch if you guys want to. Every 20 gifted subs is going to be another $5 giveaway on that day. So like if you guys did 20 subs today we would add in our second giveaway for the day. Otherwise, every single day will be a giveaway for $5. If you guys buy 4 things of merch, that will be an automatic merch giveaway for that day as well. Hi, Grumpy. Hi, Tyher. Hi, Tyher. Welcome on in, guys. I'm not OG. I'm new. You're not new, Moo Moo. You're not new. You're not new. So I hope that this is all well and handy dandy. I tried my best to make sure everything was good.
Right. As in, I
Um,
really need coffee.
I need to breathe. So again, if you're not in the Discord, I'm gonna let you know a little bit of what happened today. I had to go
Hi, I'm
back
new here.
to a place that triggers me. So 13 years ago, I had a very huge thing happen to me. Huge thing happened to me. Um, I had to go there a couple weeks ago, which is one of the days I missed stream. I couldn't get back on after, like I just couldn't. Today it was a lot easier for me. However, I am still dealing with several panic attacks that I've had throughout the day. So, so I have the big jump scares off. I do have the jump scare alarm still on for you guys because I know how much you guys love it. But the other jump scares are off for right now. I do have a little bit more friendly things on just to kind of help the vibe, help me shine, I guess you could say, and just cheer up. Um, but yeah, so my whole goal for this week, I know the streaming anniversary is my streaming anniversary, but my thought on this is I couldn't be here without you guys, right? So without the community that we have built, the love that we have worked towards. I hear streaking. I got you. I caught you. The love that we have worked for. Um, so while it's my 2 years of being on Twitch, I want it to be me giving you guys love and affection because I appreciate you guys. I forgot to turn it on. Thank you, Onyx. Sorry. Okay,
Said,
that is on.
coffee. Right.
Dixper
As
is
in, I
also
really need
on.
coffee.
We have bingo. Oh, there it goes. Okay, there's the. Woo. Thank you for the fart. Okay, so Dixper is also on. It doesn't connect with the game, but again, same thing. I have it as friendly things to kind of like help, just make me laugh today. Help make me laugh today. I am praying I get paid just after midnight, or I'm going hungry. Don't go hungry. Don't go hungry. This is a Dixper. This is a Dixper is on alert. Thank you. Thank you, Moo Moo. So we have everything up and running, everything. Oh, be patient with me too. I did big changes. I did big changes. So before I used to run Stream Elements live on OBS, like they were connected together. I have deleted Stream Elements Live. I don't know about if you guys know, but it's been bought out by Razer. Nothing against Razer. I literally have Razer stuff here. Like my keyboard's Razer, my mouse is Razer. But I don't know where it's going moving forward. So just on the safe side, I switch over to ATM. So I do have to get used to how everything is moved because it's all different. Should I do an alarm for the whole? No, no more of that. Is the giveaway till yes, the giveaway will be at the end of stream. If you win the giveaway, so what I'm doing is I have a pen and paper right here. Every single person who wins for a giveaway this week is all going on to the pen and paper, and then next week I will be dishing them out to everyone. I just am trying to keep it organized. I don't want to be like, okay, I sent this to this person. Oh, did I send that? I don't remember. I'm just trying to keep it organized. Just 100% organized. I will tell you though, for the Steam gift cards, if we are not friends on Steam, you do have to add me. Let me get my friend code right here. Just tell me it's you because I get a lot of friends requests. And if I don't know it's you, I won't accept it. Here's the Steam one. Okay, there's Steam. You guys could copy, paste that, and take that. Okay, I feel like I missed a lot of chat, and I'm not trying to be mean to you guys. I'm going to go back up and read it right now. I was just trying to get through everything I had to say before I lost focus. Let me go back up. The cam is back. Yes, I found it. JC stole it. He stole it. Stole my camera. He stole it. He took it, and then he hid it in his toys. So it's back. I did not show them the coffee yet. I will. I promise, okay? I love you. What a good boy. My baby. My baby. Hi, Asphalt. Welcome on in. Aw, babe, sending you lots of love. Thank you, Tyher. I really appreciate that because, yeah, it's something that happened and it's just something I have to live with and get over. But I don't go to that place because of it. I wish this extended into next week. I'm sorry. Next week will be the water park contest though. So if you have not submitted your water park yet, please, please, please submit your water park. How is everyone? I'm doing all right. Croissant, how are you? Happy streaming anniversary. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said before though, it's really not about me. It's about you guys. Right? It's about you guys. Because if I didn't have a community, I would not be here still. Right? Let's just be honest about that. If I did not have a community, if I did not have not I'm not talking about the subs, but if I didn't have the friendships, if I didn't come on here and say I'm excited to talk to
I said,
y'all, if
coffee, coffee,
I
coffee. Right.
if I
As
didn't
in,
have it
I
where
really need
first thing
coffee,
in the
coffee,
morning
coffee.
I was excited to check my Discord. I was like, "Oh, what have they done?" And like run into all of your guys' Discords and like see what you guys are doing. There wouldn't be anything. Yeah, it is a celebration for all of us. It really is. Does Apple ample amp app blah, 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 app, does Apple shampoo count as a snack? No. No, Onyx. No. Hi, Euphoria. And Cece, how can I eat when I have no food and no money? Um, do you guys have food pantries? Do you guys have I don't, if you were in the US, I could tell you what to do. I have a ton of resources, but if, I don't know UK. That little innocent baby did no such, yes, he did. Don't you call him innocent baby. He was like, Moo Moo is definitely already banned from, no, you're not banned, Moo Moo. I am not shampoo, Moo Moo. Oh, but I could lather you all up. Guys, why are we talking to Amber like that? Who did that? Who talked to Amber that way? Guys, rude. Oh, it's not letting me go back up again. Guys, oh, okay, so I was hoping this problem would be fixed and it's not. Okay, so it's only saying I have four. I only have 4 people in the giveaway. Guys, make sure you're doing exclamation point enter to get yourself in the giveaway. Today is going to be a $5 Steam gift card. Welcome on in, friend. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new, my name is Cece. I'm slightly unhinged, highly caffeinated mom who found her way to Twitch. I appreciate you coming on in. I want to use Amber's shampoo. Me too. We already announced the winner, Cece. What do you mean? I haven't done it yet. It doesn't stop until I stop it. Hold on, I'm gonna go look now. I'm gonna go look. Hi, Elder. Welcome on in, friend. No, I didn't, because I have to push pick winner. Moo Moo, you lie. I wish I had enough money for that. I wish. Cece is a cute.
Hi, I'm new here.
Hi, Chaos. Welcome on in. How are you today? Happy Monday. See, you guys are already cheering me up. I love y'all. Love y'all so much. You're already cheering me up. Okay, so Wednesday. Wednesday, I have a video for
Said,
y'all, and I
coffee,
hope
coffee,
you guys
right.
like it.
As in, I
It's a
really
little
need
bit
coffee, coffee,
weird.
coffee.
So what it is me saying thank you from the bottom of my heart, and then a whole bunch of clips. So the clips are going to be from things that when I first started streaming. So like when I first started streaming, I didn't have a camera. I was very shy, very mellow. I did a lot of screaming still because I was still enjoying Faz. But yeah, so we're gonna just show the progression of all the 2 years that we've been here, from people coming in, from people leaving. Amber! Amber. Oopsies. That's not a finger slipping. That is not a finger slipping, Amber. Oh my god. Okay, so that's that's another giveaway for today. So today we're gonna have two. Oh yeah. Two giveaways. Two giveaways today. So we'll have our first current one. I'll do that halfway through. And then we'll do a second giveaway towards the end. And if we have even more subs that keep getting gifted today, then we'll just keep doing giveaways. We're just gonna keep doing them. We're just doing them all. Holy gifted. I know. Okay, let me go back up. Ooh, Quiet Cat, IGC, Arctic, Art Rock, Rav, Maka, Goryo, Ghost Archer, Graham Lids, Whipped O Cream, and Eternal Night, Tanks for Fun. Wow. Baby Demon. That. Okay, that checks out. Lady April. What? The hype train was so delayed. Words Infinite. Chick Programmer Ramen. Ella. Shmi. Jonas. Why So Serious? Tarzan Poot Deity. Shauna and Shigo. Say thank you to Amber for your gifted sub, please and thank you. CC clearly wants a repeat of the hoi ai. Hiya! No. DC is the cutest, patutest, and most is amazing. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Guardian. I'm trying to just say thank you. My therapist said to say thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, guys. Oh, it's Lily. Hi, Lily. Okay, let's see here. Oh wait, I have to keep track of this. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Amber. Amber, I love your face so much. Thank you so much, Amber. Guys, please make sure you're saying thank you to Amber too, because not only did that gift subs, but that was another giveaway for y'all to try to get too. We just love our giveaways here. Where's my paper? Hold on, guys. There we go. I got my pen. we do all love Amber so much. Amber's the bomb. And 800 biddies, Amber. Amber! I love your face. I love your face, Amber. Oh my god. Okay, so we're at 25 subs for the day. Okay, 25 subs, marking it down. I'm gonna have so many squats to do. Yes, my friends, thank you. If you are not already into the giveaway, the first giveaway, make sure you're doing exclamation point enter to get yourself entered into the giveaway. We're gonna do $5 gift card, and then we'll be doing another one later on today. Amber, what are you doing, cutie? I know Amber's trying to mortar me right off the bat. Right off the bat. Amber's trying to mortar me. Oh, I'm trying to look at my own thing. I don't remember what I wrote now. Okay, so 20 subs. That means you get to give me a tattoo. Let me find my tattoo. We also have another giveaway. I already did that. Okay. All right. All right. You guys are amazing. You guys are so freaking amazing. CC, your eyes are so pretty. Oh, thank you. Hi, Jonas. Welcome on in. Happy Monday. We all love you. We all do love Moo. The way my stomach. Ma'am, do you have like a place that you could go? Like, cause sometimes like certain parks and use the glass. But I feel naked. I feel naked without, and I can't. How am I gonna talk? I feel naked. Hi, Artemis. Welcome on in. Are you just trying to see my eyes? Are you just trying to see my eyes, Ty? Yes, I would send you a picture of my eyes. I have a picture of them. I bet you saw. I did. Yeah, I did. I did very much so see that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to like squint. I'm like. Welcome on in, Midnight.
I really need.
I'm trying to squint to see who's here. I don't want to miss anything. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for the level 6 hype train. I did not expect that right off the bat today. Wait, where does that bring us for the monthly? Oh. Oh no. Do you guys have to eat? Do you get to pick my pizza? Wait, hold on. Oh, thank God. Okay. We're still 50 away from that. Thank God. I was so nervous. I was like, there's a raid I can't see. Z. Z, welcome on in, raiders. I am so sorry. I have no glasses on. I hold Ty. I'll do the no glasses again in 1 second. I have to see who's here. Welcome on in, Z. Happy anniversary. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Hi, Looney. Hi, Alpha. Welcome on in, guys. For those of you who are new here, my name is Cece. I'm slightly unhinged, highly caffeinated mom who found her way to Twitch. We are currently in the middle of my day 1 of our streaming anniversary. We're doing this all week long. We've got subs discounted all week. We have badges in place. Watch for 4 hours, get the watching badge. Gift for subs, get the sub badge. And we are in the middle of a hype train thanks to our dear Amber, who decided to give 25 subs. We also have 2 giveaways happening today. So for our first giveaway, it's exclamation point enter. I'm going to be doing that about halfway through. Our second giveaway will happen towards the end of stream. Every 20 subs gifted, we are doing a whole nother giveaway. Because my idea is this is not just my streaming anniversary, but it's my community anniversary. It is a celebration of all the times that I have spent with you guys. Thank you for the cat. Tyler. Tyler. Thank you so much, Tyler, for the 5 gifted subs. Leon, Little Burb, Zane, Looney, and Sergeant Obliques. Say thank you to Tyler for your gifted subs. Okay, so Amber and Tyher, you guys both have to stick me. 5 subs. I'm making names. Okay, I'm writing it down. Tyher and Amber. I'm not gonna forget a damn thing for this. Okay, Tyher what? Tyher. Tyher, because she's female Tyler. So Tyher. I want to Ty. Looney. Love you, Looney. Heyo. Wow. Okay, so ma'am, what Z? I love you. Oh, did you just read my message, Z? Z, Cece, you are confusing the jig. Why? Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? I love you too, Z. Not many people know that story. Actually, there's you, Mama, Red, and my mom. So that's the only 4 people who know the full story. So, thank you again for being a safe space for me, Z. I appreciate that, and I love you, Face, and I love our friendship. And I'm so grateful. Seriously. Tasha! What? 6 months, let's go! I keep seeing all these gorge faces. Onyx, stop. No. Listen, we are getting Tasha ready for when Tasha streams. Okay? We're gonna have Tasha at 100 people following before Tasha even presses go live. I am not. I'm gonna get you there. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. We will get you there. Why not? Why not? Everyone needs to try. I would be there. Same. I would be there too. Looney, don't encourage us. No, Looney, encourage. Encourage, Looney. Go, Looney. Go. Go, Looney. Go, Looney. Go. Oops. I slipped on the follow button. I love it. Bruh. I could just see Tasha holding her beer going, bruh. I'll be there in a heartbeat. Exactly. All right, dude. I was right, wasn't I? I know you, Tasha. I'm heading home from visiting family for the thing we did for my mom. How is your how are you? How is your mental health? Are you all right? I know you said that was going to be a big situation for you, a big deal. Are you okay, Artemis? It's not in my hand. It's next to me. I love you, Tasha. All right, really quickly though, before I forget, Ty Her and Amber. What stickers do you want for me? Cece's mom has come out. Is she? Does my stepdad know? Just accidentally on
Said,
purpose
coffee,
follow.
coffee, coffee.
Exactly.
Right.
Everyone
As in,
follow
I really
Tasha.
need coffee,
If
coffee,
you're not
coffee.
following Tasha, why? I will eventually get Tasha and Moo to stream. I meant to. Oh, did it? Did I say a big word or something? Like did I use the mom voice? Please tell me I didn't use the mom voice. Stickers, yes. Okay, so I have
Said,
smiley
coffee,
faces.
coffee, coffee. Right. As in, I really need
Smiley
coffee,
faces
coffee,
like
coffee.
this. I have Hello Kitty like this. I think it's getting blurred out. And I have My Little Pony. So you can pick Jacobs. You could pick any of those. I can't breathe. I need water.
Hi, I'm new here.
My Little Pony, any Rainbow Dash? Let me see. Which one was Rainbow Dash? Two things of it. I don't see Rainbow Dash.
I said,
I
coffee,
don't
coffee,
see
coffee.
her.
Right. As in, I really need coffee, coffee,
Yeah,
coffee.
actually, I've got 4 things. My Little Pony. I have a lot of My Little
Don't
Pony.
put bananas in my butt.
In my butt.
No, don't
No,
put
don't
bananas
put
in my
bananas
butt.
in my butt. I
I've
always
told you
wondered what
several
friendship could
times
be.
before.
Well, you have a friend in
My
me.
butt is not a banana.
Well, that's not fair. You
door.
have a friend in me.
And I say
That
don't
almost
put
scared me.
bananas in my
Scared me. Okay, and Tiger said
Bananas
Hello
in my
Kitty. Okay. Right here. Okay, I need foods. Yes, please. That's my local sim, and now my daughter's singing the same. My 7-year-old was singing it. I felt so bad.
Hi, I'm
Not
new
gonna
here.
lie. You're not new, Tasha. Holy overstimulation. There's a lot of overstimulation here. Always. There's so much. And I keep adding more to myself. I can't see Cece. Can you see me now? Okay. Ty
Coffee,
Her,
coffee, coffee. Right.
here's your
As in,
sticker.
I
Where
really
would
need
you like
coffee,
it
coffee,
on
coffee.
me? Where would you
Said,
like it on me?
Coffee, coffee, coffee. Right. As in, I really need coffee,
Oh!
coffee, coffee.
I forgot to write that. Yeah, it goes on me. Do you want my face? On my forehead? On my nose? On my glasses? Where would you like it? First of all, I forgot on my cheek. Okay. And then Amber, I also forgot because you did the 20 subs. I forgot to write that down. You get your name on me. Where would you like your name on me, Amber? If I couldn't find my tattoos, I was going to do names. So I need to know what other sticker because I have no Rainbow Dash. And I need to know where you want your name. Yeah, again. Boobas. Looney. Amber forehead. Wait, did you ever get your name on Tyler's forehead, Amber? Any My Little Pony is fine. Okay, and then where do you want your name, Amber? I'll put this on my forehead. Put your name on forehead, Amber. Forehead! Okay. Y'all bringing me back? I swear, guys, I am a married woman. I just like flirting. I love your face. Okay, hold on. You're bringing me back to when I taught for COVID times because COVID teaching was at home. Yeah, you can have that. And wait, you know what? I have my phone. I can do it this way too. Heck yeah. Hold on. Hold. Okay. Oh, my glasses left a mark on my nose. Okay. A M. Oh, I can't think of how to do the B. B. I don't think I did that right. Did I do that right? I can't do that. It goes this way. E. R. Okay, is that right? I want my name right under eyebrows. Feels right. Name is for 20 subs. Yeah. Stickers for 5 subs. Tattoo or name is for 20 subs. And holy mackerel. Okay, I have to keep my glasses off because I still owe Ty time too. Oh, just you wait. No, it's okay. We're fine. We're fine. No more. No more. I'm dyslexic. It looks good to me. All right. Let me. Oh, there goes the announcement again. Do I have the announcement going too much? I feel like it's too much. I don't want to push you guys. Hi, Kai. Welcome on in. Hold on. I'm gonna turn down the announcement because I feel like it's just giving. It's too much. You're too much. I yield my time in the glasses routine. Yes, yes, yes. I didn't forget. I got you. Okay, let me go over here. I'm just gonna disable the timer. It's too much. I don't like pushing you guys. Because like I said, this is not about me. This is about you guys. I have money for the gaming laptop. Yes, let's go. Oh, I meant, can you put them back on? Oh, sorry. I just want to make sure that I get everything. Okay, it's fine. It looks fine. All right. So, I finally got some news with the doctor. I'm finally let's go, Archer. Oh, yeah, guys, our insurance is back on. Guys, I did the thing. You guys want to hear about this? Y'all, this could have been an email. This could have been an email. So remember how I had to go there last time and how I had to talk to the supervisor? The supervisor forgot to mark one button on how Red does his taxes. It could have been an email. It could have been an email. Just one email. That's it. Just one email. Please. This meeting could have been. I know. I was that teacher. Listen. Listen. So when I had my own classroom, right? My classroom was always popping off. I had old students coming into my room all the time. I had other teachers just chilling in my room all the time. I had support staff just chilling in my room all the time. I had a coffee maker. Everyone wanted to hang out in my room. Like, I was the teacher. I had the lights off, right, with separate lights on. I had music playing. It was calm. I needed calm because if I'm not calm, then I get all amped up and I go crazy. So everything was calm. And I would always have everyone hanging out, right? But when it came down, if you came to talk to me, oh, there comes a New Yorker. Hello. If you came to talk to me and it was something that could have been an email, I would tell you it could have been an email. And if it was something like reply all, bruh, do not reply all. Please do not reply all. Cece was the super cool teacher. I try. I would hang out in your room. Thank you. Did you take your meds? No. No, I didn't. Is it showing? Am I talking too fast? I'm so sorry. I'm excited. It's because you're the best, Cece. No, you're the best, Croissant. Salute to all the teachers. Your work and sacrifice doesn't go unnoticed. Oh, thank you. Cece, have you seen the trend of students asking their teachers to sign Cridgel? I would do it. I would do it. Heck yeah. I found myself on students' TikToks. It's fine. I see you, Kai. All right, go take them. I can't take them. If I take them now in an hour, 40 minutes to an hour when they set in, I will literally fall asleep on y'all. And I don't want to do that. I do not want to fall asleep on you guys because we're having a fun day. We're having fun times. Everything's going to be good. Don't forget !enter to get yourself in the giveaway. $5 on Steam. $5 USD on Steam. Oh my god, the reply to all is awful. Michael would do that with permissions in other departments. I'm like, what the fuck? I had to make those rules. So yeah, exactly. I just can't. Don't reply all, please. Sleeping stream? Yeah. You guys want me to go like this? This is why I BBC everyone and don't allow them to. Yes. Man, I'm hungry, but I'm inside doing laundry. You want to do my laundry? Did you know my cutie wife is a teacher too? I did not know that, Moo Moo. Moo Moo, I love your wife. I love your wife so much already. From everything you've told me already, like in DMs and on stream and stuff, I love your wife. I love your wife. I love your kids. I love your whole family. Also, I have over $700, but the laptop is $499. Heck yeah, let's go. Get yourself some stuff to get situated for your streams, my dude. All right, let's oh, breathe, Stacey. As a SAS admin, we block sending to all. Thank God. It would have to be later this week. It's from something that is times. I have almost 6K channel points. I could do some damage. No damage. And holy macaroni, Grumpy. I love your face. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm so sorry. I got so distracted in talking. We've been talking for like 60 minutes almost. Moomoo's a heckin' cutie with a cute wife. I'm too much cuteness. I agree, Amber. I agree. Okay. So let's get into this games. This entire week is all community games. Every single day is community games. I hope you guys enjoy this. I really do. I hope to spend every day with y'all. I hope to have fun with you guys every day. I hope to make you guys laugh and entertain you. And I hope that we get to grow closer as a community and closer as friends. So I hope you guys enjoy this week and this chaos that I have planned. All right, let me switch on over to the gaming. Hi, Monk. How are ya? I hope to scare you every day. I hope so. Why did you call me this holy New Yorker? Did you call old? Paul. What did you call this morning? Are you okay? I was gone. And I saw that I had a missed call from you. And I was like, wait, what happened? All right, let me get this going. We're going to create a server. Oh, that's from someone else's game. Don't look. Wait. Don't look. Okay. And then we're going to do messy. What? I can't call my friends. No, you could cry. You could call. I just felt bad. Stacey, there's my ear holes. There's a catch to the laptop. What's the catch? I'll need to somehow get to a Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace. Do it. Do Facebook Marketplace. I'm not joking. Don't buy like a brand new one because of how expensive it is right now. Just do Facebook Marketplace. You're not the only streamer that has that accent. What? Wait, what? Loving that New York Italian. Thank you. I grew up with a lot of Italian family. I'm an Italian Polak. Sorry, gotta look. No, you're fine, Monk. You're fine. I was watching your stream. Are you done? Are you all done? Remember, my friends, if you're not following Monk, can you please go give Dump the Monk a follow? Let me do the shout out for you, my friend. Absolutely good being been here for a long time. Been around for a while. Thank you for watching. Of course, I try my best. Even if I'm lurking and not saying something, I try my very best to be there. Facebook Marketplace. As an Italian Ukrainian, I get it. Grumpy, I'm Italian Polish. Ah, we're so similar. I should get the laptop now. Yeah, my people. I know, Grumpy. This is why we get along. Like, I can't speak Polish very well, but I can sing you happy birthday in Polish. I could sing happy birthday. You look quite a bit like my yeah. If you look at my ancestry thing from ancestry.com, I literally am like 50% Polish. Like Polish, like Poland took over. The Poland genes were like, that's ours. That's ours. This one's ours. We call this one. I mean, because overall, technically, I'm a mutt. That's what I call myself. Hold on, I have to calm down. The New Yorker is not gonna stop. Oh my god. The New Yorker is not gonna stop unless I calm myself down. Hi, Spyro. Welcome on in. I'm Greek Italian and descent with Native American. Yeah. So, like, overall, I am a huge mutt. I have like 30 different things on there for my ancestry. The top one is Polish. Polish took the top. Welsh came in second. Italian came in third. Irish was fourth. Scandinavian was fifth. I don't remember the runs after that. Like extended family in Argentina. Yeah, I have family in Poland and Italy. I have family in Sicily. Yeah, I have family in Sicily. They live kind of on the coast. I have family in Poland. I have family in Ireland. Yeah. I'm a mutt. I'm a mutt. I just claim Polish and Italian the most because those are the ones I grew up with. So like I lived in New York. I grew up going to Pennsylvania for the Pennsylvania family was my Polish family. That's where everyone went to. They came here during the Holocaust. And then we would go to Connecticut for the Italian family. So like those are the two that I spent a lot of time with. Um I'm really hoping I get paid in time. Lady, I know. Hi ho ho, welcome on in. Get off my throne, Midnight. Did I miss anything? I'm German, Hungarian, and English and Irish. Yeah, we're mutts. I'm a mutt, and I own it. Don't give me money. We are done with money. We have 2 giveaways for you guys. That's good. Oh, that's one of my doggies. Yay! I love it when you guys get to see your own animals. I have the best news. What? What is it? I want to hear. You're not new, Guardian. You're not new. I'm Spanish on my dad's side and German and French on my mom's side. But Cece, should I get the laptop now? Yes. If it's on sale or something right now, then I would get it. I had a small North Carolina Florida combo accent. Yeah, I get hit with my New York accent all the time. JK, wait, I'm 80%. Oh my God, Cushy. You're not fat. Child just robbed me of chocolate and then went downstairs. Can we get a hi? I'm old. I'm old too. I'm old too. I hit 25 followers thanks to you and your community. Yes, let's go, Ho Ho. Guys, if you're not following Ho Ho, why not? Please and thank you. Go give Ho Ho a follow. Please. Pedro. I still need to get you guys that emote. We unlocked more spots, guys. You guys unlocked 2 more spots for me. I saw it this morning. You guys are killing me. How would you like Palworld? I've never played it. I'm not looking at my views. I'm not looking at my viewers. Oh, I added something new. I can't do it yet though. We can't do it until Gaga gets here. But I did add something new. Good morning, Hope as well. Hi, is it Yuki Koru? Hi, Yuki. Welcome on in. Happy Monday. Oh my God, I love Palworld. I'm hesitant. Should I get the laptop? Okay, Guardian, I'm going to tell you what I do every single time. Make a list of pros and cons. So like what are the good things that are happening if you buy it right now and what are the bad things? Also, Guardian, I would look up the percent or not the percent, the price on it. So if you look at that specific laptop, you can find when it goes on sale, what's the lowest it's gone on sale for, stuff like that. I would do that just to track it to see if now's the time for you. And then I would move from there. 3 months, 15 days, and 37 minutes. Woohoo! I hear streaking! Here it is. Found you! Boop! 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 Thank you for the streak. I'm trying to go up, but it's not letting me go up. Thank you for the 10 streak. Let's go. Enjoy those extra coins. It's okay, then do it now. If it's over an $1,000 laptop and you're getting it for $499, do it now. Do it now. And then get the RAM. Oh! What? Oh! Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, ho. Guardian, Breck, Pink, Gets, and Food Safety. Make sure you guys all say thank you to Ho. for your gifted sub. Oh my god. I'll join later, guys. Sweet. Let's go, Spyro. Watching from Japan felt like dropping by and hanging out. Watching Mecha for the funnies. Welcome on in. So normally I play scary games. I like my spookies. I like the adrenaline rush. But every once in a while, once a week, we play some community games on Mecha or Minecraft just to kind of chill it out and bring everyone in for a good Monday. Sorry, what were you saying about Ram? I don't remember. Ho, what sticker would you like? Would you like a smiley face sticker? A My Little Pony sticker? Or would you like a Hello Kitty sticker? You mean you like dying in spooky? Yeah, I like dying in them. Here's a little truth. Open up your eyes when you're checking out the Boom Bap. Check the exercise. It's going to be stuck. What? I don't know what that is. Also, how is Japan? I want to go to Japan. I've always wanted to go to the mountains in Japan. And then I want to go to the Cherry Blossom Festival. I love the Cherry Blossom Festival. Green smiley. Okay. No, these ones are mine. These ones are the ones I got from the dollar store. Love you. All right. Where would you like the green smiley face? Me too. My allergies would hate me if I went during the. I love cherry blossoms. It's my favorite. That's the sound. The lyrics to "Sound of the Police." Where would you like this, Ho Ho? And I'll put it on me. My cheek. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ho Ho. It's nice. I'm in Yokohama. Yokohama. Did I say it right? I've been trying to learn Japanese. We also watch a lot of anime. All right, let me get this going so I don't mess up. Perfection. Thank you. No, you're perfection. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay. Can I type? Okay, so Messy is going to be the server name, guys. Password is going to be CC. How many people do we have that want to play? Remember, anyone is welcome here. Ho Ho, I see the badge. Do you like that badge, Ho Ho? Isn't it adorable? It's messy. It's messy with the number 2. Isn't it cute? I thought I would do presents because you guys gifted subs. You did. Yay! Thank you so much. I've been trying so hard to learn it. I know I can't go there because I'm really fat. But you guys, you're not as bad as Korea, right? Like I have to lose like 100 pounds before I could go over there. It's so freaking cute. Thank you. I thought so too. Guys, I tried so hard to work on these. I made like 7 of them for you guys. And then it only let me do 2 and I was like, "Oh, shucks." I was like, "Damn. Okay. Well, it's fine." Okay, how many people want to play though? Okay, I just looked. It's 9:49 normally. Yeah, I would get it now then. Make CC what? Don't. I will fall asleep for fearing. I'll join. Okay, so we got 1. We got 1. We got Ghost Archer. Okay. All right, I'm gonna. Should I do 10 then, or should I do more than 10? Mugs, are you still here? I don't like to call people out, but Mugs, would you like to play? I'll do 15. I would play, but my Wi-Fi isn't stable enough. I need to get away from this free Wi-Fi. Oh. Archer, where did you get that taco from? Wait, hold. I want to look at that. Oh, for the San Diego one. Oh, I love that. I love the taco. No, you should watch me. May I ask for one final thing? I've never heard of that one. I will be cheering from the sidelines because I has no PC. We'll get you guys. Those of you who need PCs, we'll get you there soon. We'll get you there. Promise. Get you there. There's beach ball too. Oh my gosh, I love it. You guys make me so happy. All right, so let me put this here. The server name is Messy. And then the password is CC. I am also felt that. Yeah. It's about a noble girl who puts belt to booty on an evil rich people for fun. Interesting. I just hiccuped. I'm so sorry. I just hiccuped in your ear. Rude of me. Sorry. Oh gosh. Okay, so I did turn off the ball for the ball one, just because it wasn't looking right. Like it kept kind of glitching out, and I wasn't happy with that. If there's room later, I'll love to join. Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to play all day with me. If I need to make bigger lobbies, I will make bigger lobbies. I will do whatever you guys want. Like I said, this is not about me today. It's about y'all. I want to spend time with you guys. I want to spend time with you guys, build our friendships, work on our friendships, and all those good things. I do have to run ads though, guys. So if you are not subbed to the channel, I'm absolutely blown away, first and foremost. If you're not subbed, I'm blown away because I feel like almost everyone who comes in here normally should have a sub by now. Um, but if you're not subbed, just hang on tight. I do run 3 minutes of ads to keep the pre-rolls off, and I can't believe I just spent a whole hour talking. I am so sorry. I am so, so sorry, guys. Um, but I did. I spent a whole hour talking to y'all, so I apologize. But let's get these ads out of the way. And we're just gonna sit here. You're not gonna miss anything, and we're gonna have some music going. Let me get the music going. I have to apologize too because I still don't have premium like I wanted. If there's any songs, if there's any songs that you guys don't like, if it's something that triggers you, or if there's something you would like to hear, please just put it in chat. And one of the mods, if you could do me a solid and just remind me as we're going, I would greatly appreciate that. Oh, we got stir the pot emoji unlocked. Emo unlocked. For that hype train. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna make me cry. Thank you so much for the hype train again. Oh god. Okay, so we got music going. Can you guys hear music? Can you hear it? Bananas in my butt. Don't put bananas in my butt. Told you several times before. Not a banana door. I said, don't put bananas. Hold on, it's saying I need to re-link it. Kirby! Oh, Kirby, that was a little bit insensitive. I did not consent to that, Kirby. Okay, here we go. Can you guys hear it now? Can you guys hear music? Exclamation point drop. Just for fun, why not? You heckin' woo woo. Can you? No, those are gonna be for dinner. For dinner, I'm making the spicy chicken, mozzarella sticks, and onion rings. All of the things that you requested, child. Okay, I don't know. Have ramen. I got you more of your ramen. Okay, sorry guys. Here I am brushing my hair again. Why am I landing in the pool? Chaos. Yes. Oh, you guys are gonna get my pizza, aren't you? Oh gosh. Chaos. Chaos, thank you so much for the 15 gifted subs. Yuki, Chipstick, Sullivan, DK Knight, Snoopius, Jazz, Faye, Mix, Kirby, Quibble, True, Inferno, Latch, the Dilly Dilly, Pure Repo, and D1. Please all say thank you to Chaos for your gifted sub. You guys are such good heckin' beans! 100 subs to get CC pied again. Onyx! No ads for live. Yes, if you are somebody who is sitting in ads, please refresh. And remember that you guys. Oh my gosh! Wait, that means we're at another giveaway. That's another giveaway because that's hold. I have to look at my handy dandy notebook. Oh wow! I've only been here twice. You have not only been here twice. Oh, it's the coffee. The squat slacker. I know. Okay, let's see here. So that was 15 subs. Okay. So we are definitely chaos. We are definitely at another giveaway. Okay, so what I'll do then Since we are at another giveaway already, I'm going to do our first giveaway now. Okay? Exclamation point enter to get yourself into the first of 3 giveaways. Let me make sure I'm writing down what is today's date? August 3rd. Okay. So right now we're at giveaway 1. Giveaway 1 equals, okay. And then let's do this. Let's see, how many people do we have in here? We have 18 people and counting, it says, in the first giveaway. All right, get ready. And we're back from ads. Welcome back from ads. If you were in ads, I think everyone is not in ads anymore. I am sleep deprived, drove to Arizona from Emo and have not slept. No! Ho ho, you have to go to sleep. All right, ready? Drum roll. Here we go. Pick winners. Who's our first one? Chaos! Chaos! You won our first giveaway. Let's go. GG's, guys. Woo! Thank you so much, Chaos, for being here, for being a member of the community, and for your subs. I appreciate you so heckin' much. Chaos deal. Okay. All right, that is our first winner. Let me get it going again for the second one. I'm not going to do the second one yet. That will be about halfway through the stream. Okay. Let me get it going again. Start giveaway. I'm so happy I bought the year-long thing for this so that we could just use this site. All right, exclamation point, enter. Get yourself in the next giveaway. Will happen about in another hour. I have 1 person in it, 2 people in it, 3 people in it. Cushy and Archer, I think you guys went a little bit too early. It took a second to get going. So if you guys could redo your enter, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, my friends, let's get into some games now. Archer, you were here and then you left. Where did you go, Archer? Where are you? Chaos. You are 5 away from writing on my head, so it's not that one. What sticker would you like? Did I already do that? No. I don't know anymore. What sticker would you like, Chaos? I have Hello Kitty. Wait, nope. I have My Little Pony. I have Hello Kitty. And I have fell to the floor. I have smiley faces. And Hello Kitty. Which one would you like and where would you like it? Okay, I have $6.92 after taxes. I would do it then, Guardian. That's a huge discount. That's huge. Hi, Archer. I see you. Oh my gosh, you guys. We are now 30 away from you guys picking my pizza. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous about this. For anyone who missed it before, if you guys pick my pizza and then if you guys pick pineapple, I gag with pineapple. Pineapple on pizza, it makes me gag. Smiley between. Okay, which color smiley? In between where? I love pineapple on my pizza. I'm sorry. I don't want to be public enemy number 1. But it makes me gag. It's a texture thing. I love pineapple. Okay, I'm the loser here. I get it. I get it. You're a fine apple. Hi, her. You're so cute. Eyebrows in green. Perfect. Let me see. I just need to see myself. My Italian brain is cringing. I don't like it. I don't mean to. It's just, I really think it's a texture thing. You're so stinking cute. Hi, Chipstick. Welcome on in, friend. Happy Monday. Okay. I now have a unibrow. I had a sandwich and I'm still hungry. Then eat something. No pineapple altogether. I don't like pineapple. You might like Sakura pizza. What's Sakura pizza? I've never heard of that one. What about Moo Moo on Moo? Cece, don't start this. I'll keep going for the rest of your stream. What did I do? Hi, Anne. Welcome on in. Am I missing anybody coming in? Yell at me if I miss you. I don't want to miss you guys. I love y'all. I don't want to miss ya. I don't want to miss you. Also, thank you so much for the follow, friend. I do have my followers as anonymous. However, I'd like to get to know everyone. It's really important to me that I try my best to get to know you guys. So I do want to ask you, what is your favorite color? Catch the Ghastly. Ghastly? Oh, guys, what do you guys think of the new layout? Do you like, for anyone who's on vertical, do you like the calmer coffee chat one? Or did you guys like the checkered one from before? You miss me? You're not new, Moo Moo. Hi, Anne. Give Anne a follow. Yeah, boop Z. Z is such a cutie patootie. We love Z. It's strawberry, tons of cheese, sakura chocolates, stuffed crust, and powdered sugar. That sounds amazing. I've never had a dessert pizza before. You're not new, Looney. You didn't even say hi to me. I said hi to you. Don't leave me. That sounds amazing. I've never had a dessert pizza. Is that weird? Am I weird? Well, I mean, I know I'm weird. Like, what kind of question was that? That was stupid. But like, is it weird that I've never had one? Oh, listen. Before my son yells at me again, I'm supposed to show you guys. It doesn't look so great anymore. I was supposed to show you at the beginning, but I've been talking for an hour. He made me coffee. He put he put whipped cream in it with little chocolate stuff on top. And he told me, he was like, "Here, Mom, I made you coffee." He was like, "Have a fun time for stream today, and I love you." What teenager says that? Guys, I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right. My teenager said that. I had a granny myling on the blood moon and let her hunt so Gaga could admire her beauty and got myself killed. Aw, you're so sweet. Now, it doesn't make you weird. Looks so amazing, so cute. I think so too. And no banana in the hair. Banana in my hair. What did he do? He made me coffee, Chaos, and he put whipped cream on it and he put little chocolate on it. And then he told me he loves me. It's a Japanese exclusive. Oh, I need to go to Japan. CC, I DM'd you. Okay, let me go look quick. Oh, Moo Moo. Moo Moo, you just made my heart rate spike. Moo Moo! My heart rate. Wait, who's? What? Sorry, I got distracted looking at my text messages. Oh, all right. Where is everybody? Guys, games. CC is an amazing mom, friend, and human. And okay, Anne, you're kind of new. You're kind of new, Anne. It's okay. Can people stop farting, please? Quite gross. I know. Who had Taco Bell? Okay, we've got only Archer. But not only. I love you, Archer. I love you. But we need more people. Who wants to come and play? Come and play with us. Guys, listen. Okay, I know everyone was worried because of the thing that went through. I didn't mean it like that. Archer. I didn't mean it like I'm sorry. Don't leave me. We had so much fun playing Water Park Sim on Friday. That was amazing. I did re-download it, but I was gonna play Water Park Sim. That's up to you. Whichever you want to play. Yes. Yeah, oh sorry, I got distracted. Yeah. So I know everyone was worried about that. I did look through all my files. The devs Kirby!
Stop! Kirby!
Boy. I did not consent to that. The devs said it's all good. They had it happen on their computer. That specific computer that they use for testing has been taken care of. And that map is gone completely. So we are safe now. It was yes. I like fully looked into it. I got so nervous after. I fully looked into it. I'm assuming you want time. Hi, Alice. I always sleeping. Do you guys want to see Lily? I know. Why are you messing with Lily? Guys, teenage daughter's messing with Lily. Tell her to stop. tell the child to stop. How are you doing? I'm doing well. I had a little bit of a rough morning, but coming along. We're doing really well. I'm excited. We're having a great time. Yeah. We are doing giveaways back to back. So if you have not been here, exclamation point enter to get yourself in a giveaway for a $5 gift card. CC, it's ordered nice. Heck yeah, let's go. That's amazing, Guardian. Okay, am I missing anyone? Definitely still stick to the official maps if you're still worried about the mod stuff. But it's been resolved. Yeah, I'm going to Grafton. I'm sorry. I'm going to Grafton. I'm going to Grafton. There's That's nice, CC. What's nice? What'd I do? Did I say something mean? I didn't mean to say something mean. Spell it out for you. Can you guys hear the music? I don't want to be jamming to my own self. Pedro, 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 Pedro. I'm leading loaders or is it no Cushy. Woo! That was a workout. I haven't gone to the gym in a minute. Yo! Guys, I didn't tell you. So you know how I was bit by the Black Widow? Like what, 2 weeks ago now? Yeah. Almost 2 weeks, right? I was going to the little mommy's room this morning. And there was a Black Widow in the little mommy's room. That thing was huge. It was like this big. Y'all, I like died. I legitimately like died. I couldn't. Yeah, it got sucked. It got sucked by the vacuum. But it's all good now. I saved my family. Spiders love you, Spider Woman. I know. No, you know what really loves me? Bees. And mosquitoes. Bees and bugs. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, bugs really like me. It makes me kind of nervous. I don't like bugs. But bees really like me. Okay, so if you don't know, I am deathly allergic to bees. Especially wasps. Wasps are a lot worse than like a honeybee, but I am deathly allergic. Like I have EpiPens. I have jabs for bees. And I swear every time I go outside, there's a bee on me. You should try Avon's Skin So Soft. I hear it really works with deterring bugs. I will try anything. Oh, you guys are getting an ad. Hold on. Hi, Solvin. Welcome on in, friend. Happy Monday. All right, so far we have myself in Archer. I'm going to start it so that we could go take a look at Grafton. I really want to see Grafton. And then anyone else, if you want to hop on in, you are more than welcome to join us. Where is it? Okay, don't judge. Hi, Kimmy. Welcome on in, friend. How are you today? Happy Monday. Where's Grafton? I need Grafton. I need my old home. Thank you so much for the follow, friend. I do have my followers as anonymous, but I do like to ask you guys, what is your favorite color? I like to get to know everyone, and I want to know what your favorite color is. Where's Grafton? Hold on. Did I just go past it? Am I not? I'm dumb. I am so dumb. I'm so dumb. My favorite color is CC. I'm allergic, so I don't stream snipe. It's okay. Got you. CC, almost a year? Have we been together for almost a year, Z? No way. No way. My favorite color is green. My favorite color is green. I love green. Let's see here. I just wish the things will be gone. My favorite color is CC. Oh, guys. Mmm. Mmm. My home. I've missed you. I. Uh, yeah. Oh, it's my axe. It's my. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Okay. it's my hiding space. Wait, we're missing a bookshelf. There's a bookshelf missing right here. I know this map by heart because I would hide here. And one time, I actually got into a fight with a ghost about this because the ghost kept turning on the radio, and I wanted the radio off. The page is stuck. Oh no, hold on. Which one? Which map? Wait, which is it? Vertical or horizontal? I was having issues with this earlier. PC, okay. Hold on. Let me try again. I was having issues with this earlier and it wasn't working. Hold on. Why isn't it working? Turn off, turn back on. That didn't work. Can I refresh it? How do I refresh? How do I refresh it? Is it stream? No, I know. I always have technical difficulties. Hold on, properties. How do I refresh it? Oh, they got me. Hold on. Hold. How do I do this? This is being sassy pants. Let's try this one. I was having this issue earlier. None of them were working. So, hold on. I got you. I got you. Just give me a second. Okay, let's go to this one and then go back. Even when I go back, it's like that. That's okay. There's weird. That's weird that vertical can see, right? Normally vertical is the one with the issue. Hold on. How did Onyx get second and third? Rigged. I know. Hold on. Hold. Remember, friends, I am new to this program. I just switched over OBS. Oh my gosh. Okay, I started a whole new one and it's still giving me that. Rude. Rude. I don't know what to do. Okay. Hello? Nope. Heck. Okay, let's try a new game. Wait, did that not just turn off? Hold on. Okay, turn that one off. CC is new to Twitch. No, I switched OBS. So I used to use OBS. I used to use OBS with Stream Elements because I do multi-streaming. But chicken butts. Okay, I just used a game capture and the game capture is not even working. Game capture's not working at all. I'm using game capture and window capture and neither one of them are getting it. My brain is melting. So that's the window capture. Window capture's stuck like that. Maybe if I switch it. Hold on, I got an idea. Let me try switching from automatic to Windows. I did it! I did it! Hold! I did it! Yes! I figured it out. I'm smart. Hold on. I did it. I did it. I did it. Woo! Woo! I did it. I did it. I did it. Woo! Woo! Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I had to. Like, that was a good moment. That was good. I did it. He's so smart. So I switched it. So I had it on automatic, so it was automatically capturing it based on the Windows. But instead of doing automatic, I switched over to Windows 10 and up because I have Windows 11. And it worked! Guys, there's a wild Pokemon in chat. Exclamation Catch to see if you have it. Oh! It's my favorite food. Long cheese. One long cheese is my favorite food. Oh, God, I love me some cheese. Exclamation check to see if you have it, and Catch with the ball of your choosing to try for it. All right, let's hear. Did anyone else want to join? Catch me singing this in Repo all the time. Oh, we should play Repo. Remember, guys, Friday is chat picks. All day, every day this week is going to be community days. But Friday, you guys are picking the game. You guys are picking the game on Friday. Oh, I'll join you in here in a second. All right, go on in. Get in here. Anyone is welcome. Exclamation point. Nope. Messy. And then the password is CC. And if you just got here, exclamation point enter for the chance at the giveaway. Will there be fast today? No. No fast today, but we're having fast tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, fast, all day community games. So you guys get to jump in and play. Friday is chat picks. Will there be a Boop CC day? Wednesday. Wednesday is the Boop CC day. Wednesday is going to be the day that we do 3 merch giveaways. One will be a t-shirt for Official Barista. The second one will be a desk mat for your computer section. And the third one is going to be a coffee cup. So I hope you guys like them. I'm trying. I want you guys, I really just want you guys to know how much I care about you guys and how much you guys mean to me and how grateful I am. I try my hardest to go into everyone's streams. I try my hardest to answer questions on Discord. But I don't ever feel like it shows the accurate amount of how much you guys mean to me. So it's really important for me to make sure you guys know. 'Cause I want you guys to know how much I love y'all. Hi, Drew. Welcome on in. Happy Monday. Drew, do you have Mecca? I love this song. Drew, do you have Mecca? You want to come play? We're going to play Old Grafton. I see Alice. Let's go. Hi, Alice. Hi. Oh, I do want to be Hunter. Hi. I'd so like to wait, I'd like to please change the time. Oh, no, yeah, I'm going to change it. I do have it, and I wish I wasn't working right now so I could join. Oh, that's okay. I hope you're having a great day at work. I probably look ridiculous with all these stickers on my face, don't I? The clips from today are going to be phenomenal. Oh, and Friday, I'll be doing the clip award for last week. Remember, my friends, we do have a competition here. I like competitions. So if your clip gets the most views in a month, you win a $5 gift card. Lots of gift cards this month. I'm trying so hard. Do your best, CC, and we appreciate any amount of response that you're able to manage. Alpha. Thank you, Alpha. I appreciate that. I really do. I feel like I have to give you guys more. I know someone's going to yell at me to be nice to myself, but I just feel like I don't deserve this love that I've been given. And I need to show you guys how much I'm grateful for it. I am so grateful. And I just want you guys to know. Let me move over this. All right. Let's see here. Anyone else wanted to pop in? Everyone is more than welcome. CC, yes, you do. And we all love you. I love you guys too. You guys are my family. 100%. You're family. I don't just say that for shits and giggles. You guys are legitimately my family. You know my kids. My kids know you guys. Like, literally, my kids know you guys. You guys are family. So you do so much for stream, and thank you for all the fun. No, thank you. Thank you for being here to have the fun. Like I said, it wouldn't. Yes, you can have that. I wouldn't have it without you guys. So thank you. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for being nice to me. Thank you for telling me to be nice to myself, because I'm very harsh on myself, and I know that. You had a whole house of people cracking up with Water Park Stream. I'm glad. I had so much fun with that. And I wanted to do more. Red took his hat to work. I was originally going to put the goggles here on my forehead and put Red's sun hat on me. But he took it to work. I mean, the slow walk over Archer. Grabs Cece's brain through her ear holes. Thank you. Thank you, C. Run and hide. Okay, let's get this started. And if anyone else wants to join in, we can join in more. Guys, and guess what? Guess what, guys? Guess what? I think I'm going to get Red to stream later. I'm trying. I've been trying to convince him to download Mecha when he comes home and stream it with me. Blast as always. Aw, you guys are so sweet. Wait, why didn't that work? No. Oh, I love this song. Oh, shucks. Guys, are you okay with some CC karaoke? Out for a walk. Coffee. I didn't want to talk, so I stopped the paper. It was more bad news.
Okay, well, that's annoying.
I assume you bring a magician.
nothing to
I'm
do.
a magician.
Just gonna go for it.
And maybe Hoot. Hi, Hoot.
Pouring rain. Saw a movie, it just wasn't the same. Oh, I was happy and I was sad, and it made me miss you oh so bad, 'cause dreams last so long, even after you're gone. I know that you love me, and soon you will see you're meant for me, and I was meant for you. I love this song so much, guys. Oh. I'm besides, so what would I say if I had you on the line? Worry not much to say. Hearts are broken every day. God, I love her so much. God, I love her so much, guys. I'm sorry. I got so distracted. I love this song. Like, this is like one of the songs. Her songs speak to me on a whole nother level. Like, she is literally one of the people that have inspired me when it comes to my writing. When it comes to my writing, my music writing, telling a story is so huge to me. And the way that she does that, I have goosebumps. Guys, I have goosebumps. I love her so much. In bed, I'm half alive, but I've been mostly dead. I try to tell myself it'll all be alright. Shouldn't think anymore tonight, 'cause dreamless. I said stream, get it? Even after you're gone. God, I love this song. I'm so sorry. I'm breaking your eardrums. I'm breaking your eardrums. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm gonna see if Mama wants to come. I thought I stepped at the hunter thingy. Oh God, I'm sending a voice message to Mama! No, you're not. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that. Hi, love. I was just telling them how you're gonna stream afterwards and come play with me. Hi, Ellis. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Ellis. Let's go. I love this song too. This is the playlist that's gonna get me copyright.
Here you go. Okay.
Oh, I used to loop here. I got the best pictures. You're not new. You're literally my hubby. Do you like? I have Amber's name written on my forehead, love, and then I've got stickers. Stickers, stickers, stickers. This is a playlist that's gonna get me copyright. Look at us. I love that one. That's the two of us. Mama! Okay, look at... Red, it's Grafton. It's Grafton. Red, I'm crying. Grafton. I used to loop here. I looped. I looped a Dio here one time and got some amazing model pictures. And then, to break her, and then I died here one time with my with my friends. Hey, let me reminisce, okay? I'm just from phone's dad leaving on the charger. Okay, I love you. I love you. Stuck by ya. Kirby! Kirby. The fireplace! The chair. I used to... Snoopius! The bathroom. Oh, look at it. That was a nasty fart. I can't hear the fart still. It makes me so sad. Ouija board was over here, guys. Guys, this is where Ouija board was. In the bathroom. We need to take a poop. Poop. Hi, Sassy. Ouija. Yeah. And the twins' room. Monkey Paw was... Oh. Well, first and foremost, this was Monkey Paw over here. Look at it, guys. Isn't she so pretty? Okay, tell me in chat. How many of you guys miss Grafton? I'm realizing this is the Faz map. Wow, I know. I miss old Grafton. How many of you guys miss old Grafton? And how many of you are new to Faz where you didn't see this map? You didn't know this map. I never played old G maps. Yeah. Old Grafton had a very special charm. It was my home. I would say it all the time that this was going to be the house I was going to buy. This was my home. I love this one. This is my Grafton song was written about this map. This was an OG map. It was. Me, I started it in January. Aw, it's okay. Me, I never saw this map. Oh, I have some amazing clips to show you guys. I used to hide by the bathroom. Oh no! Go get your groceries! And then this was a hiding spot. This was a hiding spot. You could hide there. Me, I never saw this map. And then they reworked it and took away all of our lights. I like New Grafton. It's just really dark. And it's not old Grafton. I miss old Grafton. And I always died up here. I wish to reverse to OG maps, but keep the chickens. I love the chickens on the new one. Oh, I have an idea. I'm not gonna have enough time to do this though. I know this. Hold. Okay. Hold. Don't judge me, guys. Don't judge me with my cock location, okay? Okay. That was too thick. She thick. That's too thick. Fine. Right? Been a while since I played this game. Okay. This. Okay. Sorry, you guys are getting the concentration face. Then we go this way. Like that. Oh. Ah! Wait. I'm not ready. I was distracted looking at it. Because it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Okay. Okay. Then we'll go up like that. And we need this one. There's no shot that this is gonna work. Look at all the clocks. Oh, I am flashing, huh? I didn't even think about the flashing. That's fine. There's no way it's gonna work. Ah! Dang it. Starfish! Winning down starfish out! Okay, base color. Okay, go quickly. Go quickly. Go quickly. Don't panic. Yeah, don't panic. Who would panic? Who would panic? I would never panic. You still can paint. I believe in you. Thank you. Thank you, Looney. You have more faith than I do. Okay, let's see here. Let's go like this. And then like this. Okay, and then, my head. I gotta get head. I gotta get head. Hold. That one. That's a better color. That's a better color match. We'll go like this. And then like this. Because I think that lighter color is actually more of like a, lines, right? It's lines? Wait, this is why we love Cece? Wait, what did I say? What did I do? Make sure you get all sides and shadows off? Shadow off. Got it. Wait, what did I say? What did I do? Quickly. Hey, what are you doing? This ain't no lounge. Come on, get your ass to work. Go. Oh, like that? Like this? Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. What did I say though? I don't know what I said. Oh, this is Red Song. This is mine and Red Song, guys. Follow my lead. This is mine and Red Song. Lenny was like, but you're flashing, and I was like, I don't think she even notices. I didn't. I didn't. Oh, there's a shiny! Onyx! Congrats, GG's! Wait, can you guys hear StreamerBot? Please tell me you hear it. Okay. I would crash. Okay. You know what? It's fine. We're just, you know what? I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. Go, Onyx, go! Archers below. I think we're good. I think we're good. We're not gonna get any points, but I think we're good. I got the snowy Ninetales earlier. I saw what Flubo caught in yours. Your head. Oh fuck! I forgot head. I forgot to give head. Hold. We're just gonna. Oh, in arms. Head and arms. Head and arms. I forgot them. Fine. It's fine. Ah, in between the legs. Oh gosh, I'm. Hey, I did miss your stream. Hi, Alfred. How was your first day of work? Your head. She got the double spawn from. I saw it. That was so amazing. How was your first day of work, Alfred? Guys, can we get a GG's to Alfred? Alfred went back to work, and we are so proud of him. So proud of him. What am I pressing? Come. There we go. W. Alfred, right? Alfred! I have a name written on my forehead and stickers on my face. In case you didn't see that. Name. Stickers. They're killing me today. Also, my friends, remember, if you have not been here, exclamation point, enter! Get yourselves in the next giveaway. We have 3 for today. 3 giveaways for today. A full day of learning about work via Teams. You know, that's fine. You need to rewrite Amber. Did Amber's name come off? Where's my phone? You broke out in Cutie Box. No, they broke me. They gifted subs again. Ah, yeah, it kind of is gone, huh? I'll have to rewrite it. Amber gifted 20 subs, so when you gift 20 subs, you get your name written on my body. And then I'm sweating. That's probably why. And then for every 5 subs is... Every 5 subs is a sticker. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. I still need to write on boobas. That's all up to you guys. You're not gonna see it though. I'm yelling. I'm whistling. Does anyone else want to come and play too? I want to get as many people in here. I really want to make sure we're all having fun together. I want to have fun. And then tomorrow, I can't wait for Faz. Faz community games, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm excited. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be fabulous. I can't move. I want to get up. Let me go to the bathroom. Okay, go to the bathroom and come back. Go to the bathroom and come back. Oh, this is going to be another song that gets me, this is going to be another one that gets me a copyright. Okay, I know you said it was a whole bunch of learning via Teams, but what did you like from it? What did you take away? And did you meet one new person? Literally, as I was painting, Walmart was knocking on my door. I heard you. Always take care of yourself first, please. Please, always take care of yourself. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble for singing this game. The stream. I'm gonna be in trouble. Oh. I forgot to tell you guys. I was grateful that Sun did this. But I don't like things that are hard on top of coffee. When you're supposed to be drinking something and then like you get a little bit of a hard thing, or like now it's mushy kind of from being sitting on there. Oh my god, it is a good song, isn't it? I've never panicked so hard putting away food. Take care of yourself, always. I learned nothing. I took away that when my job, I get to get people in trouble. I joked with someone only because she said she also had dark humor. Oh, we like that. Is she single? Hi, Pink. Welcome on in. How was your second stream of the day, right? You were playing Faz earlier, and then you switched over to Fortnite. Guys, if you're not following Pink, can you absolutely give them a follow, please? Pink is such a cutie patati. We absolutely loved them. Hold on. I love them so much that I joined their Discord and have been watching every day. Adorable. Hard, huh? I'll make you hard, Anne. I have work at 0800, so I'll be on an early night, but at least I get to learn my actual job and meet my boss in person. I love that. I'm so happy for Red and I were talking about it, and we are both so happy. We're so happy. We are so proud of you. You've got this. I'm still in Fortnite. I've been lurking. Oh, thank you so much for the lurk. Thank you for the shout out. Of course. Hope stream is going well. It's going amazing. For every 20 gifted subs, I'm writing people's names on my body. For every 5, I'm putting stickers, and we're doing giveaways up the wazoo. So exclamation point enter to get yourself in the giveaway. I don't know if she's single. Pretty sure she's in her 20s, so I'm good. Hey, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine, Alfred. It's fine. Oh gosh. I love y'all. Yes, exclamation point enter to get yourself in the next giveaway, which we'll be doing in about 40 minutes from now. And then at the end of stream, we'll be doing our final giveaway because none of you are allowed to give any more subs. We're done. We're done for this day. No more subs. It's not allowed. Okay. I don't want pineapple on pizza. I feel like you guys are gonna pick pineapple on pizza, and I don't want that. I'll eat it if you guys do that, but I don't want to. I don't want to gag on stream. I have no idea how I'm going to manage another 1.5 hours of work. You got this, Looney. You got this. I am exhausted. Coffee isn't working. Looney, you're amazing. You got this. You could do it. I love you, Looney. No more subs. That's rude. Yeah, no more. No more. No more. As a mod, no, I'm not. Onyx. Rude. Rude. I'm not doing that. You're making me have hiccups. You're making me nervous, Onyx. This is a good song, too. You're thinking about calling it a day? Only if you absolutely can't do it. Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble. Jobs are important. Work is important. Guys, this playlist is hitting. If I had money, I would. No. No. I know a lot of us don't have money right now because life is hard. Life is harding. Life is hard. Life is lifing. And I want you guys to always take care of yourselves. Oh, long day of running around doing stuff. Alpha, are you still at work? My app is broken. It won't let me. Take care of yourself. Go get that baby some more books. As one with a fear of puke, I'll pass. Exactly. I don't actually puke. I just gag. It's the texture. Okay, it's the texture of the cooked pineapple. I just. Ooh. And anchovies. Oh. Ugh. No anchovies. No anchovies. Ugh. Anchovies. Ugh. Pineapple. I can't. That's not allowed to happen. So we're going to avoid this. I've got the I'm in danger laugh now. Okay, pulling up at a false end to my cycle, and I'm annoyed. Oh no. Actually, BRB, the app has an update. Yes, update. I love olives and spinach. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, pulling it up. Okay. Tasha, you ready? What's the server? Messy and then CC. I hear Snickers with pickles ain't too bad. I love pickles. I will eat anything pickles. I love pickles so much. They're so good. I have some on the counter. Hi, August. Welcome on in. How are you today? Happy Monday. Yeah, I could easily eat a jar alone. Someone gagging makes me gag. Well, then we don't want pineapple on pizza or anchovies. Pickles are fire. They are. 100%. 100%. All right, let's get going. And then if anyone else wants to join, just let me know. Okay, let's see here. Ammo limit. No. We don't want an ammo limit. No ammo limit. Okay. Oh my god, I love spicy pickles. What are they called? The big mama? The big mama spicy pickles? Do you know what I'm talking about? I stayed up making a necklace with wire and string from... Aww. And then I spent over 5 hours talking to people. Aww. Anne, you're so sweet. You're so cute. Cheeseburger with pickles and top is a good idea. Bread and booger. Booger. I said booger. Bread and butter. Okay, where are we going this time?
I forgot to unmute myself.
That's okay. It happens. Guys, should we be the music box? I love this. I'm just in awe, okay? I just miss this map. Wait. I want to test it. I know we're going to get found, but I just want to. Good is gone. I have a funny thing here. Anytime I order McDonald's, I always... Me too! I love pickles. McDonald's pickles hit differently too. But I've been trying not to eat. Okay. Hold here. Okay. We're going to do one color first. We're just going to do colors first. Right? This way. It seems like a better idea. Okay. One color. Doesn't kill you.
Is this map supposed to have a shit ton of shadows?
Yes. Yeah, it does. The OG map, like the actual map itself had a lot. Okay. We're just, you know what? We're just gonna make it messy.
There's so many shadows.
Losing my shite completely. However, I do believe, I hope you're all well. I'm sorry, August. August, if you need to talk about it, I'm always here. I totally get it. I did not start off with a good morning. I had a horrible morning. I hear JC. I had a horrible morning, but then it slowly got better, and we're getting there, and we're just having fun. We're just trying to have fun with community and friends, and that's all we can ask for, right? Okay, let's go this way right here. I hope today gets better for you, though, August. Don't forget the side, CC. I know. I need to get closer. Whoa. Whoa! I didn't realize I could get that close. Hold on. Ah. Okay. Go like this. Get around the sides. Like I was instructed to do.
Maybe you're not close enough.
Let's go right here. And then we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Ooh. Then pull it up. Then pull it up. Okay. Maybe you aren't close enough. I know proximity is a thing. Oh, for Asha? Is Archer the person again? Poor Archer. Okay, let's do this. And then we're gonna come. I just had a shadow come in. There's a wild Pokemon in chat, guys! Exclamation Poke catch. With the ball of your choosing to try to get it. Give your balls a good rub. Give them a good blow. And try to get that Pokemon. I know you guys could do it. I know you can. I have faith in you. I have faith. How'd I get that? Yo. Yo. Hold on. Hold on. How did that happen? Okay. I'm going to fail this one. I am 100% going to fail. Okay. Oh, I hear ads too. I'm sorry, guys. I hear that you guys have ads. Give me a second. Why does it keep doing that color? I don't even see that color. Mecha! You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Okay. Okay. Okay, we gotta come back over here, guys. We have a lot missing. You're the sweetest ever. You all are really. No, you're sweet. I just try to be a good person. Right? I actually just had a really deep conversation with Alfred about this. What was it, like Friday? We were talking about this because I 100% just want to be a good person. Right? That's all. That's all I can ask for. Like, that's all I could try to do. There's so much evil and bad in the world right now that I just can't. So my goal isn't to, I mean, my goal is obviously to entertain as well, but it's just to be a good person and to be a friend. I don't need to hear a McDonald's ad. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get Spotify Premium as soon as I get paid from Twitch. I promise. And then it will let me add you guys too. So you guys can actually add your songs to the playlist. Like, you guys can actually go right to the playlist and add your own songs. Hey, Cece, guess what? Guess it's fixed now. My brain? It was worth a shot. Right. My brain? Because I don't think so. I don't know about that. I mean, my therapist did say that I'm going less days now. Oh, that was too much. Alfred! Oh my gosh, Alfred. Alfred! Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs, Alfred. Holy heck. Guys. Oh, let me go over there. Alice, hubby. It's fitting that you get that Red got one. Cade, August, and Bash. Guys, I'll say thank you to Alfred for your gifted sub. You guys have ad-free viewing, cool emotes, 10% off of merchandise. And I don't remember the other stuff right now because my brain just keeps breaking. I always take care of my baby daddy. I know you do. You guys are so good together. Alfred, what sticker would you like?
Can y'all whistle?
Sorry. Oh, I'm talking to them too. I feel so bad. Wait, hold on. Okay. What sticker would you like, Alfred? Your shadow's still on? Hold. Oh, I just realized, like, I'm missing stuff. Right? Wait, no, that looks fine. Not fine, is it? Did I move? I think I moved. Shadow off. No, shadow off. There we go. Let me turn that off. Ah! Oh, you can pick. My brain's on autopilot. Aw. Oh. Don't. Don't look there, okay? I think for you, Alfred, I'm going to do My Little Pony. My Little Pony? Yeah? How's that? Let's do this one. I don't know their names. I don't. And Under the Arms. Sassy. Oh, is this the map that we had house for Faz? Yeah, it's Grafton. I've completed 2 game demos today. I have issues. No, that's not issues. That's fun. Who's this one? I don't know who this one is. I don't know their names. Who's Rainbow Bright? I don't know what the I don't know what their names are. This is what I have. Here, I'll send you a picture. I'm blue with rainbow. Be blue with rainbow. Hold. I'm gonna send you a picture. This is what we have. Oh my gosh, I don't deserve y'all.
What is my
Guys.
luck getting Hunter 3 times in a row?
Okay, hold on. Let me go to your ping.
The selection.
Love
not
you guys.
being
I really do. You guys are
needed.
amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Hold on, for some reason. Oh, it's got set up.
For some
I'm gonna
reason,
cry.
I'm blind, but I'm also tired. So
I can't cry. I'm gonna cry.
I don't know
I
why.
can't
it
make
does
out
that.
Also saw a video of this level and someone
that's my
molded
issue.
themselves as
I
a
can't make
camera
out
outside
whistles.
the
I
house.
can hear 'em, can't
That's
make out
amazing.
whistles, but I also can't see.
That is amazing. Here's pictures. And my knee. You kind of have my knee in the picture too. I hope you don't mind. You have my bare ass leg in the picture. I'm sorry. Everything I'm gonna give you. No, I don't know. Did I send it to you? Oh, I didn't press send. Yell at me. Okay, and then we've got 5 gifted from Alfred. I heard that. I'm gonna try to make you guys, everyone who has gifted, I'm gonna try to make you guys your own color in the Discord. I hope that's okay. I'm writing down everyone's names so I know who to give colors to.
Warmer. Colder. Colder.
Third giveaway.
Gold.
10. Okay, so we're 10 away from another giveaway. Oh my god, that would be 4 giveaways, guys. Holy macaroni. I want the one with the bird on its back. The one with the bird on its back.
I'm blind, people.
Warmer.
Archer, don't step on me! Don't step on me! I'm just a little flaw. I'm the bird and the pony is red. Oh my god. He does not always carry you. You guys do good together. Hi!
I could not see you at all.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's alright. Okay, the one with the bird on his back. This
I
one.
don't think I would have even looked in the fireplace. My dumbass would have not looked in it.
And where would you like it, Alfred?
Are you in the window? Oh, I would have not looked in that curtain
Yeah.
at all.
What was that?
Oh, the curtain.
Nose? Okay. I'm gonna have to tidy up the... Oh. Okay, so what do you guys think of Grafton? Did you guys like Grafton? Wait, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello? Did you guys like Grafton? I can't hear anybody! Are you guys having a good Monday? All right, let me do this next. Okay, since we're so close to another giveaway, I'm going to do this one right now. Remember, my friends, I'm calling you all back. I know I don't like to call back lurkers, but I am calling you all back now. Everyone, exclamation point enter to get yourself into the giveaway if you have not. We're going to do our next giveaway right this very second. Actually, we're going to wait 20 minutes, or we're going to wait 3 minutes because I didn't realize we were already going into pre-rolls. So we're going to do pre-rolls now. That's 3 minutes of ads. Get them out of the way. Then we are coming back and we are doing our next giveaway. Make sure you guys are ready. Exclamation point enter. I will see you back in 3 minutes if you are not subbed to the channel. I am pretty sure everyone is subbed to the channel at this point, though. Everyone is subbed. Everyone has a sub. And we are literally... Oh, yeah. I can't look at this. We are literally 18 points away from y'all picking my pizza. Oh, yeah, yeah. I could do more than I got to get food. Okay. Okay, hold on. Hi, Cade. How are you, Cade? How do I talk? Okay. We got to play. All right, I'm. Oh! Nope. Why is that there? What is happening? Chaos! V, press V. I did. I pressed V. Well, damn. Sitting in depression, so I have no right to enter. You have every right to enter. Cade. Cade, you have every right to enter. Please do it. Now everyone is. Oh my gosh, chaos! Muff, Sassy, Topaz, Blue, Tyrone, Kim, Morhoki, and Jesse. Please say thank you to Chaos for your gifted subs. That's 5 away from another giveaway. Seeing your face and hearing your friendly voice is enough for me. Oh, Cade. Cade, do you have the summer blues again? Cade, have you had any coffee? You had coffee, Cade? Thank you so much, Chaos. Chaos, that's another sticker for you. What sticker would you like, Chaos? Oh, my Lanta. No more monies, Mama. No more monies. Please. Oh gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the microphone. My bad. Thank you guys for saying thank you to Chaos. It means a lot to me that you guys are saying thank you. 5 subs, Chaos. That means we're 5 away. Tasha! Oh, my Lanta. Oh, we're gonna unlock more emotes. I'm hiccuping. Tasha, you're making me hiccup. Guys! Dark Millennium, Hypa, Labata Queen, Drew, and Nicholas. You guys were all given a sub from Tasha. That's another giveaway. No, stop yelling at me. Follow Tasha. I'm determined to get Tasha and Mumu to stream. Kirby, stop sucking on me. Oh my gosh, Tasha. Subs. Tasha. Tasha, what sticker do you want, Tasha? Kirby, do that to me. All the follows. Thank you guys. I can't tell you guys how much I. Why are we gonna make me cry again? Is this make Cece cry again? Welcome on in, Hypa Matt. How are you today? Happy Monday. You're welcome. You're welcome, Tasha. I love your face, man. I love your face. You're not my mom. I am your mom. I am all of your moms at this point, okay? I hate to be a bad friend, but my partner went, no, don't. That's not being a bad friend. Archer, you're fine. I love you. Go have fun. Go take care of your partner. Do all the things you need to do. I ended up with a sub and a thank you, whoever sent it. I'm glad you got a sub. I hope you like your Hypa. Do you like Hypa or do you like Matt? It's because it was my first day of work. That's why I gifted, so deal with it. Love you. Thank you, Topaz. Hi, Topaz. Have I missed any bingo? I have no idea. Matt is better. Hi, Matt. Welcome on in. My name is Cece. Nice to meet you. 40 ounce of coffee and wants to crawl in Looney. Looney. You guys are all absolutely amazing, though. Thank you so much, guys. All right, are we back from ads? We are back from ads. So really quickly, exclamation point, enter to get yourself into the $5 gift card giveaway. Thanks to Tasha, I think we have another one to do. I'm doing some streaming scenes, assets. Ooh. May I see? Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, so that was the third one. Then we had 5. Yep, that's another giveaway. Done. 4th giveaway. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm gonna run into giveaways for tomorrow. Giveaway. Oh my goodness! All right, exclamation point. enter. I'm sorry. I don't want to stress you out. Okay, let's do this let's do this one. Okay, and drum roll, please. The winner is Yuki. Whoa! Let's go. Yay! Yay, Yuki! Let me write your name down. I do need you to add me to Steam, so that we are friends, so I can get you the gift card, Yuki. Let me write down your name. Blind wheel spin. No, I'm doing giveaways. And then when we hit 300 subs for the month, you guys are buying my pizza. Does this game have controller support? I don't think so. I don't think so, Alfred. Okay, so... I was writing. My back hurts by seeing your chair. Yeah, I know. This chair is so uncomfortable. Away. And then, was Yuki. Yay! I love this. I'm so happy to see friends getting this. Let's go. New friends, old friends, everyone in between. I love y'all. Yeah, this chair is not the most comfortable, but it's okay. And I know I have viewers off. So don't judge me. I still have viewers off. But I do have my followers on. And guys, we are 7 away from hitting 1900. Holy crap. Guys, I love y'all so much. I don't deserve this. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the jump scare, Mama. Cece is the mostest beautiful. Are we looking at the same person? Hold. Where's my camera? Let me unlock it. Are we looking at the same person? I'm covered in writing and stickers. Are we looking at the same person? I'm gonna hide. Hide! You are so beautiful, don't you? I'm not. I appreciate you guys telling me, but I'm not. And I'm not supposed to say not anymore. My therapist yelled at me. So beautiful. Love you guys. Did I miss anything? Buy a new computer chair? I can't. Most of the money that I'm getting from this month from you guys is all going back to you guys. So, I love you guys. Like I said, I want to make sure I'm giving you guys back. Don't make me be screaming in this lobby, I do nothing. My chair wobbles. It stresses me out. My desk wobbles. This camera's a lot better than the last camera. Which, by the way, again, thank you guys for everyone who helped chip in for the new camera. I appreciate you. But I think I'm gonna put a shelf here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move this over because I have a whiteboard right here. The whiteboard has like streaming goals for the month and stuff like that on it. I think I'm gonna move the whiteboard and put another shelf there so that the camera can sit on the shelf instead. So it's not shaking. Oh, it's in my butt. Oh, don't put bananas in my butt. Hold on. Let me make sure the giveaway's going. Banana door. Yes, it is. Okay. It's in my butt. Are we not dancing anymore to that? I was having fun. I can't hear and I don't know what's going on. Is there another giveaway? There is. Exclamation point, enter for another giveaway. We have 2 more to go. I remember you randomly singing that when we were gaming. Don't judge me. Did we start a new giveaway? Yes. Yes, there is a new giveaway. Exclamation point, enter. $5 gift card. Get yourselves in. And does anyone else want to come and play? If anyone else wants to come and play, let me know because I will get you guys in here. Please, thank you. This little thing for this entire week is just about spending time with the community, being a part of the community, and just enjoying my friendships with you guys. Judgment? Our friendship is the last of them. All right, let's start this map. Hopefully they can go in, and then we can get more people in hopefully next game. I want to get to everyone in here. Everyone in. I keep messing up my hair. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I can't believe that I went from having like 4 panic attacks this morning. It is messy. Oh, I just... It is going to be messy. Here, let me write it down. I think I think we accidentally did a pin for the giveaway. Okay, let me do server, messy, and password CC, and then enter to join. There we go. Let me do that. Okay. Now, why do you want to do that? What do I want to do? What am I doing? Wait, it's not letting me do it from here. I can't pin it. I can't pin it. You're very welcome, Kimmy. Thank you for being here. I hope that you have fun playing with us and that you become a full member. Remember, my friends, if you're not in the Discord, go enter our Discord too. What giveaway did I enter? It's another $5 one. I'm doing the merch giveaways on Wednesday. Wednesday's merch giveaways. Today, tomorrow is going to be gift cards. And I thought I took that off. Oh, I didn't take that off. Oh, I'm going. I'm going. Did I become a rock? Okay. Should I do it, guys? Should I do it? Should I do it? Join the Discord. I post food pics to drool over. Did you guys like my sushi ones? I wasn't sure about posting them because I felt kind of weird posting the sushi pics. But I worked really hard on it. So then I was kind of like, you know what? It's fine. If no one likes it, it's fine. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. It's okay. Can I get my belly? Okay. All right, let's go like this. We have oh, that was too big. That was too big. It doesn't fit like that. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Okay, hold on. Hold. Oh, smaller. Smaller. I need it smaller. Please. Thank you. Like that. Then a little bit smaller. Then a little bit smaller. Then we'll do this. Yeah. Wait, that's what she said. Wait, what was she? Wait, what? Wait, what? What happened? Become one with the rock. I wanted them. What did we want? Oh, you wanted my sushi? I'm glad. I have never. Yeah. I have never made raw salmon sushi before. And I was so nervous. You said it's too big to fit. Oh. Nobody clip that, please. Guys, AutoClip already hates me. Like, my top 2 clips from AutoClip
Oh my god, my hand is so unsteady.
was like
I
me
cannot
talking
draw a
about
straight line.
what was it? It was like
Oh no.
oh, I can't remember right now. I sent the picture to Mama. Where's my phone? I lost my phone. Hold on, I'll tell you. I sent it to Mama. I have to take off my glasses because my phone does not like my face. Does anyone else have this issue? I tried to do the thing to add the face ID with the glasses and it still won't work. Wow! Why do I have 29 text message on my phone? Ah! My sticker! It's in between my legs. The sticker is in between my legs. My sticker go. Tushy! Don't do that. I sent it to Mama. Hold on. We have a lot of texts. Okay. Okay. One was me saying I just changed my pants. And the other one was when Man Down or Phantom was when Phantom gifted 50 subs and I literally broke. Like, wait, where's this? Is on my nose. I could show you guys if you're on this one. Does that count as plain sight? I think so. Look. Ah, it's blurry. Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay, let me go like this for a second. Look at these are my top clips. Do you see the faces? Look at that face. That looks so sussy. And that's that is just from AutoClip. Hope you enjoyed. Oh God, oh God, Alfred. Did you do the July clip giveaway? No, I did not yet. I'm doing that one on Friday. I said. Right now I have all the other, I want to get through all the giveaways just from this event first, and then I'm going to do the normal stuff. Oh, I forgot that I was doing something. Hold. Okay, because I'm. You're at 257 views. Heck yeah. Let's go. You definitely probably won. I'm gonna say you won. If this is a link, only mods can post links. Yeah, you can send it to mods and they could post it for you. I'm sorry. I have to have my I have to have the thing up a little bit because of the Pride shelf. I'm on the Pride shelf all year, and I'm on the women's shelf. So because I have a spot on front page, I have to have my automod up so high. It still blows my mind saying I have a spot on front page. I know it's a shelf, but still, it's like, oh my god. Twitch, I love you too. For cream pie faces. Of course. Ooh, GG's. Oh god. All good. I'm just letting you know. You're good. Yeah, you're good, Anne. You're good. Yeah, you're good. Ooh, I survived. I survived. How? How did I do? I need more water.
Oh no, the color match lied to me.
No.
I do not blend at all.
I hate when that happens.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Guys, thank you again for
Ooh, Tasha, I like
for
your paint
sharing
job.
the stream and for being a
Zach,
part of the
Zach.
community. I absolutely appreciate you guys. I've been trying so hard to get like partner numbers. And the fact that you guys are here helping me, hanging out, gifting subs, and talking is a huge, huge deal for me. Thank you so much. The more you guys talk and chat, the more that Twitch pushes up the stream. So I really appreciate you guys. Why is she so adorable? Tasha or Mama? They're both pretty freaking adorable. Mama's adorable. Mama got me friendship bracelets. See? Mama and I got to meet in person. We went
That's
to the
enough
beach
of that.
together. We went to the beach together, and Mama bought me a friendship bracelet. We have matching friendship bracelets because we're
She'll
besties.
fly, baby.
Isn't it cute? I love it. I love it so much. I can't wait to meet people at TwitchCon too.
Not right now. baby.
Ooh, I like this song. Did y'all take any selfies? No, we didn't actually.
You know
Have
enough
some
space.
good games. I'm gonna like okie dokie cushy. I just now realized that we never took pictures. That just means you were having too much fun. We were, and the kids were all running around. Our kids got along fabulously. And I've already told Red that when we move back to the East Coast, we need to buy a house that has at least a spare bedroom so Mama could come on the weekends. Like that's the only way to say it. Like I need Mama to come visit on the weekends. When y'all move, I'll visit. Yes, you will. Heck yeah, you will.
I feel like y'all are outside.
I am outside. I am outside. I am outside. I'm here. Come find me.
There we go.
Guys. 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 Do you see what I see? I done fucked up. I have made a grave mistake. Is the hunter even hunting? I don't know. They are. Tasha is. This is a big map,
I'm
to be
not.
fair. Tasha's like, no. I love y'all.
This
On
place
me
is
just
fucking
for a
massive and half of it's
night.
shadows.
I share my
Like, I can't see
secrets. Gonna have to
shit.
keep it. Yes, can see it.
Let's go back this way. Are you on the fucking roof?
Guys, we're just gonna have CC
Can
karaoke.
you even get up
We're
on the-
it's gonna be CC karaoke. I'm sorry.
I'm so sad because it won't show me CC's spot, even if I were to be looking right at her.
Girl, is your name Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I
Because it's
see.
increasing
Mama! You're a silly
I will
goose.
only get to
I like
know
one
after.
haven't seen any.
ran away.
Oh,
I
yes,
like
I
one
have.
ran away. I'm here. Oh, I was muted. Tasha! Tasha, come find me, Tasha! Tasha? 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 Tasha?
I'm trying.
I'm outside! Tasha, I'm out. I'm outside. I'm one with my people.
I am also outside.
I'm in the front. You have
It
seen
doesn't
me.
help that half of this is dark. I don't know.
I am spamming the whistle. Tasha! Marco! Wait, I would be Polo, technically, huh? You're gonna make Tasha crash out, mama.
Is she shouting me out again?
But yes, go follow Tasha, guys. Go follow Tasha, please. Please, go follow
No,
Tasha.
stop it.
What? I didn't do nothing.
See, I couldn't see Alex because that shit's.
I was a rock. I was hard. I was a rock. Can you guys hear me? The fun you eyes. Can you hear me? Kimmy! Hi, Kimmy! Hi, Kimmy! Kimmy! Oh. Sorry, we became one. Sorry, my bad. You know what? Chat's been yelling at me about personal space lately. I apologize. Ah! Alfred! Oh, you're here. Trying to join the game. Okay, come on in. Now get your booty in. Y'all gonna make me hide behind my... You're not new, Sassy! Like, it shows you talking, but I had to unmute your channel to hear you. What the heck? You're gonna make me put my beard on, guys, so I could stroke my beard. I have to stroke something now. Hold. Where's my beard? Beard! Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, the beard? Grumpy! Let's go! Have I missed a whole bunch of winners? I owe you guys dick spurs. Yes, I'm stroking my beard. You just reminded me. I need to tag Red in that clip. Not sure. I was AFK for a while. I don't know either. See? Don't you guys stroke your beards? It's not showing with Messy and CC. What? It should be... Yeah. Oh, lowercase CC. Lowercase. Lowercase CC. Banana Welcome on in, Raiders! Let me take this off. I have a beard to stroke. I'll let you stroke my beard. Hi, Bananakin. Welcome on in. Hi, Raiders. How are you today? For those of you who are new here, my name is Cece. I'm the slightly unhinged, highly caffeinated mom who found her way to Twitch. Thank you so much for trusting me with your community. It means a lot to me. How was your games? How was your streams? And I saw that we got the shout out for you. Yes, let's go. Cece, say, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Looked a good beard. Do you want it back on? I'll put it back on. How was Faz? Weren't you playing Faz? Missy! My ex-wife! Let me go over to the other one so I can see you guys better. Interrupting Missy, interrupting Missy, interrupting Missy. Hi, Missy. Hi, Geo. Hi, Bananakin again. And hi, Celeste. Welcome on in, Raiders. For those of you who are new here, my name is Cece. I'm the slightly unhinged, highly caffeinated mom who found her way to Twitch. You guys are here during our... Hi, Gannon. During our Messy Adventures anniversary. So what this means is that this is my second year on Twitch. My actual anniversary of affiliate is Wednesday. So we are having an entire week dedicated to not me, but to you guys. I am doing my very best to spend time in my community to have fun with y'all and to give back to you guys because you guys are absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for the raid. If you need to raid and fade, that goes for you raiders as well. Please take care of yourself. It means a lot to me that you are good and that you are okay. Yes, that is your Paw Patrol book. You got your Paw Patrol book? Yeah, there's a lot going on, huh? Do you see it? Yeah. How was your games? You guys weren't you playing you guys were playing fast together, right? I remember I had both of you guys up earlier. I'm just trying to remember what you guys were playing. How are you, Gannon? It was good. Oh, make Water Park Sim. Okay, it wasn't Baz, it was Water Park Sim. I love that game. Did you guys, oh my gosh, on Friday, Missy? On Friday, I wore my bathing suit on stream. I wore goggles on my forehead, and I gave myself a giant flamingo. Because we were playing Water Park Sim. We were getting wet and wild. Banana kept hitting me with a boxing glove. That's fair. I did the same thing. And then, oh my gosh, and then oh my god, Gaga joined to play with us, right? And she found the golden ball, and she was literally gooning with the ball for like an hour. This is why you are the ex-wife. I'm sorry. But it was literally like so much fun. And then I found how to break the map. You can go on top of the buildings, climb behind the buildings, and then you can go touch the ocean. I touched the butt. There's a big cruise ship out in the water. It's really amazing. It's okay. Her hubby is my baby daddy. Yeah, that is. That's my baby daddy's baby daddy. Let me turn down Spotify because I can hear that there's an ad. I'm so sorry about the ad, guys. I am going to get Spotify Premium, I promise. I want to touch the butt. That's what I said. That's what I said. But thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for being here for my anniversary. It really means a lot to me that you guys chose here to raid into, that you guys are hanging out. Please, 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 though, take care of yourself. Wash your face, get some water, get some food, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. We have an absolute ton going on today. We are gifting subs like crazy. We have multiple giveaways going. Exclamation point, enter. Get yourself in the next giveaway, which will be happening in about 30 minutes. It's going to be another $5 Steam gift card. And if we're not friends on Steam yet, please make sure you add me, but let me know. You guys might be able to see that at this point. Yes, but wait, there's more. Wednesday is going to be merch giveaways, and every single day this week, every single day this week is community days. Hi, I'm live, my love. I'm live. No, am I right on my face? Go play with Joel. So silly. Okay, sorry guys. It's a baby. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am trying my hardest to hit partner. However, if any of my kids come into this room while I am streaming, I will immediately turn and give my attention to my kids. Because they're my entire world. So, anyway, thank you so much, guys, for coming in. I appreciate you. We are every 20 subs, we are giving away another gift card. It's a $5 gift card for every 20 subs. And we are about 4 subs away from y'all picking my pizza. I'm gonna have to set up a date for you guys to pick my pizza. If anyone wants to come and play, you are more than welcome to. We have 15 slots on the game. So yeah, you guys are more than welcome to hop on in. I got an Adam Sandler's voice saying, but wait, there's more. Right? Oh my god, I'm gonna starve. My fingers don't like chopsticks half the time. This is training torture. But I love chopsticks. I love chopsticks. But thank you again, guys. I'm gonna go over to the other page because I'm currently seeing my viewership and it's gonna drive me crazy. No, sassy. Ugh. No, Sassy. No. No. No anchovies. No pineapple. No. And if you gift 20 subs, I'm writing your name on my body. Your name gets to join my body. Wait, that sounded really wrong. I mean, I was trying to make it sound. Yeah, I'm just gonna shut up. I'm just gonna shut up. I'm being defeated by a noodle. Me too. And why? Ugh. No. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the music back up. We're gonna play. If anyone, I know you guys just got done streaming, but if any of you want to come and play, you are more than welcome to come and play. Please and thank you. We're playing currently Old Grafton. We are on Old Grafton, and it's so much fun. I love seeing it. I miss it so much. How many? I'm not telling you. All right, let's get this started. Who's ready to party? Quiet in here. Quiet. Can y'all hear? I'm gonna start it. All right, that is good. That is good. Okay, let's go. Wait, I want to be in the middle. I want to be in the middle. Fine, I'll badger Red. He'll make it happen. Yes, John? Huh? Sorry. Late from Raid, but here. Welcome on in. Is it EK? Welcome on in, friend. I hope you're having a fabulous Monday. I would say sub a ridiculous number and have your name tattooed on a special place, but oh my god. That's my husband. That's my husband. Help me, guys. How is your day going? Is it EK? Can I just call you K? Is K okay? I like to make nicknames for people. Lily's hiding on my feetsies. Use my feetsies. Oh, I put your password in wrong. Here you go. You want me to put little pony on? It's for subs. Okay, sorry. Let's go. All right, guys. Where should we go? Put a 1 in chat if we should do the first floor. Put a 2 in chat if we should go to the second floor.
CC.
On my phone?
CC,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Sorry. Ah! Don't. Shh. 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 You heard nothing? Listen. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. You didn't hear a thing. Go to sleep.
You say that, I hear you.
I don't know
Everyone
who's
calls me
hunting
EK.
then.
Sweet. I'll call you EK too. Welcome on in, friend. Happy Monday. Hold on. My son needs my phone. Here you go. Okay. We're running out of time. Let's go. CC, you might get. I muted it now. It's red now. It's red. It's red. Red now. Red. Where should we hide, guys? 1.5. So stairs? Question mark? Is that stairs? We could do this. Okay. We could do this. Deep breaths. Deep. Okay. Base color. Base color. That is not right. Okay. Okay, this is fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. It's okay. No, I mean pool noodle that you swim with. Wait, what's a pool noodle? I want to be a pool noodle. Can I be a pool noodle? I mostly just want to be in a pool, though. That makes sense? It's hot, guys. It's so hot here. What is the temperature like where you guys are? Because it is hot as bajinkas here. Okay? Like, it is... Wait, that does not look right. There we go. It's fine. It's fine. I'm in Florida. How hot is it in Florida? I've been to Florida 1 time before. I've only been 1 time. This still doesn't look very dark, right? Like, it's just not matching. Wait, they added a whole bunch of different things to this. Hold. Okay, let's do roughness. Let's make it rough. There we go. I just had to make it rough. Okay. That's better. That's better. Okay. So now we fix this. Okay. And then we're going to put this here. I'm still waiting to what I got to do for you to get the pizza. I'm not telling you. I don't want to. I don't want you guys to make me eat anchovies. Hi, Spyro. Welcome back. How is stream going? I just finished work. How was work? I hope it was good. I hope work was good and they weren't mean to you because you don't deserve that. Use a good bean. What if I buy it for you? Wow. I don't know what to tell you. You guys are. You guys are amazing. You guys have been absolutely. Oh, that was too much. Oh gosh, I'm getting distracted. Okay, I could do this. You could do this, Cece. Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay, a little bit darker. Because that was not right. Wait. I'm messing up really badly right now. Don't forget the shadow. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Sassy is like my shadow reminder. Okay. Does anyone else want to come join next game? Remember, guys, if you want to come join, you're more than welcome to. Go. Okay, like that. Hey, I need to focus. I need the music off so I can focus. Hold on. Does anyone else have to do that? Like, you have to turn off the music so you can see? I can't see. I can't see. Oh. Oh no, Alice! We lost Alice! Alice! Alice, come back! Hold on. Okay, let's go like this. That doesn't look right still, right? Oh no, I got kicked. Go to your head. Okay, my head. Oh! You were right. Always. Okay. Right there. Okay. Too far. Hey, hold. Oh no! Oh no! I'm just messing up now. I'm panicking. I am panicking. Get her to partner before TwitchCon, and rude. 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 I mean, the likelihood of us hitting partner before TwitchCon right now is actually really low. we're low. But it's okay. Fine. Alright, let's go right there. And then let's... I'm so gonna get caught. What does she need? More people. I need more people. I need to be better entertainer.
Good, but I'm gonna have fun with this anyway.
Right? I totally get that. Wait, where's my... Oh, that's not right. Oh, I went too deep.
Good luck, everybody.
No. Oh, I'm so cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Help. I'm cooked. Too big. Too big. I forgot about the head. Are you doing a partner push? I'm doing an unofficial partner push. Sorry, I was multitasking and caught half of that. No, it's fine. I'm doing an unofficial partner push. I have 3 of the days for partner. So my community very much thinks I deserve it. So we're calling it the unofficial official partner push. My actual average is about 54. So it's like kind of like not quite there, but like almost like we're just touching it, you know? Like we're just inching closer. That's awesome. Congratulations! Wait, hold on, wrong button. Woo! That's amazing! Let me give you a follow. That is so amazing. Oh! That scared me. I'm going back before if there's the black. Someone's hunting? I don't know, I can't hear. Can't hear. It's overdue. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you, Alfred. Like I said, I really don't deserve... Oh, I'm gonna be sick. No one saw that, right? Simple Missy just joined my stream team. I raided her today, and that's how I landed here. Oh, you're gonna love having Sin. She's my ex-wife. She divorced me, because I like to touch grass, but it's okay. There's no harsh feelings. No, but seriously, she's an amazing person. She's a really good person. You are gonna absolutely that's a keeper for your stream team. That's an absolute keeper. Oh, was that a failed Mortal Kombat? Yeah. I didn't mean to press the button. I didn't mean to. Hide on the ceiling. I feel like that's rude. I feel like that would be mean. Oh gosh, I feel like am I really big? Did no one tell me and I was really big this whole time? Oh, hold on. There we go. Is that better? Sorry for those who are on classic mode. I mean, God. Thank you so much for the follow, friend. I do have my followers as anonymous, but I like to try to get to know everybody. It's extremely important to me that not only do we have a community, but we have a community that cares and responds to each other. So I like to get to know you. What is your favorite color, if you don't mind answering? Ew, not grass. I like grass. I like to go hiking. Wait, I thought Dora was your wifey. Dora's one of my besties. Purple? I like purple. Like a deep purple, a light purple, or like a lavender? I did touch grass this year. It was a single blade. Do you guys remember when I got cut from the single blade of grass? EK, they're gonna put me in a bubble, just so you're aware. They keep talking about it. They keep talking about putting me in a bubble. And I'm not allowed to use power tools. But I think it's fine. Okay, I get to hunt! Okay, finally. Let's go. Okay, total attention. Twitch purple. Hi, her jello? Her jello? Can I call you Ello? Welcome on in. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a fabulous Monday. I'll send a pic if proof is needed. I need a bubble. I figured out my finger. You did not actually fracture your finger. Oh my gosh, Midnights. We are going to put you in a bubble too. I thought that was somebody for a second. Wait. Mo! What? Thank you so much, Mo, for the nut. Hey! Mo, it's a baby. We've had a Twitch baby. How are you, Mo? I hope you're having an amazing day. I was watching you earlier, too. Thank you so much for the follow, friends. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Don't forget, anyone who just got here, ! Enter to get yourself in the giveaway. Today we're doing gift cards. Wednesday we're doing merch. Please, please, please. I want everyone to have a chance to get this giveaway. I want to give back to this community that has given me so much. Especially friendship. They've given me so much friendship. Thank you.
Go out.
So, ! Enter.
For a second.
Outside? Wait, I want to see outside.
Look at the roof.
What? CC for partner. Oh my god.
I was a weather
My
vane.
managers want me. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. That is amazing.
The fucking weather vane
That's
is crazy.
That is so great.
I even put directions on me.
You did good. Oh, they can't hear me. Can you hear me now? CC for partner. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, it's starting to hurt to bend it, and it's been. Oh my gosh, Midnight, go get it looked at, please. I've seen it, but it feels like there's glass. Go get it. Go get it looked at. That's not safe. Please go get yourself looked at. Oh my gosh. Wait, which mod added that one? Mods have too much control here. Mods are killing me. I'm gonna have to go through all the commands from mods again. I can't with you guys. Oh, Onyx. It was Onyx. Okay. Got it. I understand. I see you, Onyx. Does anyone else want to hop in and play X? It is Messy for the server name, and the password is lowercase cc. On the road, I won't be home till September. Wait, what about your mom? I thought you were staying with mom. Is mom okay? And is your truck okay? I remember seeing you guys broke down. All right, let's see here. Should we do another one? We go again? Wait, what time is it? I can't. Okay, so with the new, remember my friends, I need you guys to be patient with me, okay? I need you to be patient with me as I try to figure out how to use ATM over Stream Elements Live. Okay. Please and thank you. I need you guys to be patient with me. Okay, let's see here. Exclamation point enter, get yourself in the giveaway. It's been about 40 minutes since the last giveaway, so let's do this one. And then we'll do another one at the end of stream, okay? Exclamation point enter, $5 gift card. I will be writing everyone's names down. And then at the next week, after we have everything done for this week, then I'll be giving out the cards. I just want to make sure that I am getting everyone and I don't miss anyone, or I just want to make sure there's no mistakes. I'm doing this very carefully. Okay, so third giveaway. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys have gotten so many giveaways. You guys are crazy. Gift away. Okay. All right, let's see here. Let's see who it is. Drum roll, please. We got 13 people in here. Anyone else? Make sure you're in it. Get in it. I'll message you about mom later, but the truck is okay, and we were having issues with our I don't know what that is. That's so weird. I think they're still working on the Kings for the Love. Probably. Drum roll. And pressing button in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam! Our winner is Tasha! Woohoo! Wait, why didn't that go off? Woo! Go, Tasha! Go, Tasha! Go! Go, Tasha! Go, Tasha! Go! Tasha! Tasha! Alright, starting the final giveaway for today. Exclamation point enter. And get yourself into the last giveaway for today. Wait, I didn't get to enter. There's another one. We have one more. You guys have been gifting like crazy. Y'all are gonna make me cry again. I can't keep crying. Tasha, you won! You won, Tasha! Huh? Giveaway for Looney Junior's over in Arthur stream shouting me. I love it. Because you deserve all the love, Tasha. Okay. Remember, my friends, add me on Steam and join the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, why not? I have this goal to get the Discord to 1,000 people. That was kind of explosive. That was really big. And remember, my friends, if you are somebody who is a lurky turkey, could you do me a solid and refresh your stream? Just let Twitch know that you are here, that you are hanging out, and that we are having a dang good time. Please and thank you. I'll turn the music back up for you guys because the ad is over. I'm 100% going to get Spotify Premium. I promise. Promise. I won't forget. What? Me? Forgets? No. I would never forget. Tasha, 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 Tasha. Make sure, let me know if it's too loud. Okay, let's do a drop. Exclamation point, drop. And I'm going to let you guys pick your map. What map we go to. You guys get to pick. If you land in my pool, of course. Oh, I should change it to the birthday cake, huh? I mean, it's not my birthday, but still an anniversary, so there still should be cake. Right? There still should be cake. Tasha, did you get the badge for gifting subs? I did 2 badges. I did 1 badge for watch time. It's 4 hours of watch time. And that's me holding a cake. And then I did another badge for gifting subs. Guys, nobody is beating Tasha. BRB, I need a beer. Nobody is beating Tasha. 98.06. Come on now. Nobody is beating that. That was good. That was a good one. Okay, I need to go off because I can see my viewership. Yes, I know they're gonna yell at me, but I'm not looking on purpose. I was so close. You were so close. So close. Tasha the goat. Do you guys like the new anyone here on mobile and using vertical? If you are, do you like the new setup for vertical? I tried switching it. I gave boxes to things so it felt more organized. And then I was a little bit nervous about the thing, but I was trying to make it all like blend together, like not blend together, match. I was trying to make it match. There's a Pokemon in chat, guys! Exclamation Poke Catch, and with the ball of your choosing, and Poke Check if you want to see first if you have it. You look like you just tooted in the pool, and are looking to see if anyone noticed. I just tooted in the pool. Guys, no peeing in the pool. No peeing in the pool, okay? No peeing. No peeing in the pool. You land in the pool, no peeing. That's like a #1 rule. And wash yourself off first. No, Tasha does the repo emote. Welcome back, Tasha. Tasha, you won the drop so far. Unless somebody steals it from you, which I think is going to be really hard to do considering you're at 98. But, yes, pool. No, man. No. No pee in the pool. No! No, Onyx. Well, goddamn. What about peeing from the outside of the pool? But not like in the pool, right? I mean, still on the outside. That people walk there. No, you gotta go away from the pool to pee. No peeing in the pool. No pooping in the pool. No band-aids in the pool. Ugh. I invested in a mini fridge, my friend. That way everyone can yell at you for saying it's right there. There's a reason to leave. No, you cannot pee in the pool. Alice, are you back? Yes, you're back. Okay. Just making sure. All right, Tasha, what map do you want to go to? Where you want to go, Tasha? I like this song. Wait, how do I get off of it? What about peeing on someone in the pool? Are y'all okay? Like, I know you guys have broken my brain after having a million panic attacks lately, but are y'all okay? Are you guys okay? I'm worried. I don't know what you have. Okay, so we have all the normal maps, like the main maps. I've never done Greece. Or this one, or this one, or this one. I've never done these. And then we have the treehouse, we have the art gallery, we have Hidingwood. Kindergarten? Okay. Let's go. Listen, we've just had a lot of fluids, and there's a line at the bathroom. Oh, well, you have to hold it. You have to hold it. That's Guardian. That's Cinnabon. Cinnamon. No, wait. There's a full name to that one. Wait, hold on. I can't remember the full name right now. It's like Cinnamon something something. I've had 2 kids. Alice, I've had 5. I get it. I get it. I know. I've never. Oh, oh, I know this one. Cece, is that paint on your face? No, it's stickers. It's stickers. So every 5 gifted subs is a sticker, and then 20 gifted subs, it's kind of wearing off right now, is your name on my body. Let's just make it difficult. Why not? Right? Why not make it difficult? I am difficult. Ask Fred. Onyx. Oh, you guys are hilarious. I love y'all so much. Okay, let's go right here. Then we're just gonna go like right here. Oh, that was, I think I went off the line. I went off the line. Guys, I think, oh. Did I really say it like that? I don't remember saying it like that. Yes. Yes, what, my love? Yes. Yes, what? What are you saying yes for now? I'm gonna make you eat the pizza with me, dude. He's like, it's not my pizza. Watch. I know him. He's gonna be like, it's not my pizza to eat. Okay, let's see here. Let's get the green situated. Whoa, Mo, let's go. My mods running bingo. Can we reset bingo? I think that's enough. I think we've had enough winners on that one. Let's reset it. Okay, let's see here. Let's do the feeties. The feats. Yeah. Well, hi diving peeing special just got shot out the. What, Kate? What does that mean? What does it mean? Oh, there's only 2 winners? Okay, let's do 3 then. I thought I said seeing another one. Okay, yeah, let's do 3 winners. I gotta get it right. My lines are not very lining. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? My lines are not really lining. Ay. Oy. Okay, let's do that, and then we'll put this there. And then I need this part right here. Please tell me I did that enough. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Guys, why do we let me do this? Why do we let me do this? Please tell me. Okay. Red, don't forget I need you to get sugar. Sugar. Or I can't make your coffee. Don't even ask. Twitch cut my typing off and we were stuck with that. Fair. Hi, Penguin. Welcome on in. Thank you for the gigantic emote. How are you today, friend? Happy Monday. I hope you're having a great Monday. I hope everyone's having a great Monday. I know Mondays are rough. I like it when we can sit here and play on Mondays and have like a good Monday and help everyone not be so upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just like to help everyone have a decent day. All right, let's see here. Let's color in the neck. Yeah, that's fine. I think I went off too much. Did I go off? Hi, Joey. Been lurking, hoping you're having a good day. Thank you so much, Joey. I actually have yours up, or I had yours up for a lurk too. I'd have to check. How is your stream going? Did you end stream? How is it? I hope not. I can't turn. Why can't I turn? You know what? Just green everywhere. Does it look okay, guys? Hi, Ty. Welcome on in. Can't even tell, right? Right? Like, can't even tell. Croissants! Let's go! GG's! Winners! You guys are amazing. Okay, I think I went a little bit too high on the feet. Can we all agree on that? My phone turned off on him? Okay. Sorry guys, Childy's phone. Whoa. Why do I have so many text messages? Okay, thank you. Sorry, let me fix this. Ooh, wait, I'm not ready. I wasn't ready. Okay, and I owe Dixper crates to people then. Okay, hold on. Let's do this one right here. It's fine. Right? It's fine. Hi, ho. Nice spot, you think so? I'm a little bit nervous. Why do I do this every time? I'm so bad about this. Okay, I know somebody's walking outside. I just saw shadows. Okay. Okay. Who's outside? No one outside? I feel like you're lying. You're sus. Who came inside? Hey, was it already 3 o'clock? Hi, my love. I said sugar too late. He's home. He's home. I said sugar too late. Okay. What was your password? I forgot for a second. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if I get caught. I tried. I did try. Right, here you go. Thank you. Oh, the air just kicked on too. Guys, how hot is it where you are? It is the hottest Satan's ballsack here. It's gonna be in the hundreds all week. Why is it glitching? Why are you trying to be a seed? What are you doing? You guys are playing the weirdest games. Hit 98 today, but dropped back down to 85. Can I have 85, please? Sitting in the shade in MO, and it's 88. Oh, I would take 88. Oh, look at that little messy. Oh my gosh, I love it. I see a bunch of What do you mean you see a bunch of pictures? Oh no, what did I do? Oh no! Are my kids on my Discord? Wait, hold on. Let me go down. Now I'm nervous. Did my kids post something on Discord? Cade! There was a hype train, yeah. There was a hype train. Wait, I'm trying to see. Where are these pictures? Did my sons post something? They have my phone. Now I'm nervous. Who's new? Because if you're not new, I'm gonna yell at you. You're not new, mama! You're not new! Let's get our whistling going. Also, hi, Mama Truth. Happy Monday. I hope you're having an amazing day, Mama Truth. I can't whistle. Who here can whistle? I can't whistle. Can anyone whistle? She is new. Hello, Mama. Welcome to the stream. You're silly. I can't whistle. How do I whistle? How do I do it? I am totally new. No, you're not. Kirby! Kirby, stop! Kirby? Invasion of privacy. You guys are amazing. I also played the flute. You play the flute. Oh, we're going into ads. I'm so sorry, friends. Okay, 3 minutes of ads. I am playing, so I'm not gonna be able to stop it. But 3 minutes of ads. I will see you guys back soon. Honestly, I don't think there's anybody here that is not subbed to this channel yet. Literally. You guys are all subbed. There's no one here not subbed. What are ads? Exactly. Exactly. No one here has ads at all. You guys are blowing my mind. I can't hear them talking. See, I'm new. You're not new. Damn, I want to sacrifice myself. Oh my gosh, guys, no. Heck, the sword is still there. Remember, my friends, if you are lurking, could you let Twitch know that you are here and that we are hanging out? Just let them know so we can keep our numbers up. I appreciate you. I'm not looking. I swear, I'm on OBS. I'm not looking. I'm just asking if everyone could refresh. Just let them know that you are here. Heck, the sword is still there. And the sword's not going anywhere. Bam. You were supposed to have a hammer, actually. I don't know what happened to the hammer. But at least you have the sword. Twitch, I'm not here. No, we need everyone here. We need everyone. We need Twitch to know that we are here so that we can have an average of 75. Can you hear me now? Nobody can hear me. Oh, I can't wait till tomorrow when we do Faz. Guys, now that Faz is like fixed, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back on Faz. Oh, I hear someone! Oh gosh, I'm so blind. I'm blind. They're not in here. No, oh, I see Kimmy! That's good. I'm gonna give that a G. I give it a G? I can't give it! And an upstate so you can be near me enough to bake cookies for you. Ooh, I want cookies. That was good. That was really good. Are you guys going to the gym? Oh. Thank you for the stretch. Remember, friends, if I'm stretching, you're stretching. Stretch your feet. Stretch your legs. Stretch your body. Stretch your shoulders. Get everything stretched out. Stretch your fingers. Make sure your fingers are all stretched. Okay? And farting. You stretched so hard you farted. You did good. I saw a bunch of white on your back of your head. Yeah. I forgot my head. Thank you, Gannon. I can't hear. For the jump scare, Mama. I was the snail's second eye. You guys are good. I can't hear anyone. I'm upset that I can't hear anyone. All right, exclamation point drop. If you land in the pool, you're going to decide what map we go to. Does anyone else here want to get into the games as well? Well, that fart came out of nowhere. Yeah, of course, out of nowhere. You muted? I know, but I can't hear either. Can you hear me? I can't hear anyone, but can you guys hear me? Like, it shows me that you guys are talking, but I can't hear it. Might need to do a decent. That would be a lot. There'd be a lot of people in there. Yeah, see, I can't. Hello? Can you hear me? I can't hear either. I see the names pop up. Yeah, I've seen the names popping up, but I'm not hearing anything. Did anyone drop in my pool? Why can't we hear? Did a setting change? I don't think so. This is all the same. I haven't touched any of this. I can't hear you in game. Oh, wait. Wait. How did that change there? Voice output? This one? Okay, let's try that. Can I hear you now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Now it's not even picking up! Did I do it wrong? I don't know! Put this back up for you guys. Okay. Kimmy is doing a headstand. I didn't break it this time. It wasn't my fault. I don't know what else. Okay, voice output. This should be output. That should be. I don't flippin' know anymore. This one? I don't know why it's all changed. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I still can't hear you guys. Did I win a crate for Dixper? Yes, you did. Hold on, let me go back up and give everyone their crates quickly. While we are waiting for everyone to come back. Let me give you your crates. We have Mo croissants. And then let me see here. We have croissants. Oh, I forgot the. Hold on, let me mute myself over here. Because I see it going off, so I don't want to make sure. Like, I want to make sure the. Okay. Okay, there's your crates croissants. And then let's do Mo. Oh, I don't think Mo has one. Ah! Bugger butts. And then who was the last one that won? You're welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, I wonder what happened. I could hear. I know. I don't know. I didn't break it this time. It wasn't my fault, Midnight. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. What if we restart the lobby? I could try that. Hold on. Let me see. How do I turn to title? Okay, let me go back. Create server. Let's see. We have 10, right? Do we have less than 10? Let me just go do 10. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. I have to come back again. I forgot the 0. There it goes. Okay, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. Okay, come on back. It is the same thing still. So just leave and then come on back and you should be good. Let's go. Hi, Mo. How are you, Mo? Well, guess you want to play by yourself. I don't want to play by myself, though. I want everyone here. I want everyone to play. It's fun to play with everybody. Can you guys hear me? Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? I'm not even hearing it go off. I didn't break it. Oh, now the glass is breaking. I don't think it's working still. B on off. Ooh. Oh. Hello? I don't know what's going on with this. That's the same thing. Like, that didn't change at all. Hello? General game. Input device. Oh, there is control. Alfred! Alfred! Alfred, if you're still here. Alfred! Alfred! Alfred. Thank you for the lurky turkey, Spyro. I mean, I love that. I'll have to text him. Oh, the kids took the phone. I don't know. User management. 4. Good night, Spyro. You going to CP's? Here, let me tuck you in. Ah! Y'all didn't even see that one. You didn't even see Dixper. I just got my... Oh. I don't know, Mo. I didn't know that until now. I had originally told Alfred no. All right, let's tuck Spyro into bed, guys. We got tuck Spyro in, remember? Go to sleep. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is an AT&T commercial. Can you hear me now? Why am I not here? Are you guys hearing the go to sleep? Oh. Wrong button. Hi, DC. I don't know. I don't know why it's not working. That's how I feel right now, Kimmy. That was a Verizon. I thought it was AT&T. Was it Verizon? Crap. Oh no. I just remember it. Oh, your sound changed from game to system. Let me see here. This is the one I hear from Elgato. It has everything on it, including the games. This one? Can you hear me now? You hear me now? It looked like a skitty pig. A skitty pig. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? It's broke. It's Bork! It's Bork! My eldest name for guinea pigs? Aw. It's broken. It just broke. I don't know why, and I didn't break it, so don't blame me this time. I will fully accept when I'm the one to break things, okay? Guys, if you could do me a solid and just let Twitch know that you are here and you are hanging out, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm doing my best to get my numbers up. And I'm trying this stupid little thing, like pushing for partner. I'm just trying. So if you could do me a solid and get those numbers going, I would appreciate that. If you could share the live with your friends, I would also appreciate that as well. We're just trying to get everyone here and do that thing. Do something. We're trying to do something. I don't know what exactly yet. Hold on. I'm gonna look up the commercial. What? I have to look this up now. I have to know. What was the commercial? Oh my gosh, why can't I spell? Commercial or can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, you're right. It was Verizon. Why was I thinking AT&T? Holy crap. Jonas, you are right, sir. You were very, very right. And I was wrong. Miss Amina, I see you. Happy anniversary. Thank you so much, sweetie. How are you today? I hope you're having a fabulous Monday. The actual anniversary is Wednesday, guys. Remember that. Wednesday's anniversary. This is a week-long event. We're having fun. Community games all week. Giveaways all week. Exclamation point enter to get into the giveaway. Wednesday is going to be a video that I'm making for you guys. It's my thank you. It's a thank you thing mixed with how far we've come, right? And then Wednesday is also going Wednesday is also merch giveaway. My baby is off for surgery this morning. Aww. They've got it. It's going to be fine, Misdemeanor. It's going to be all right. You got this. You are a strong mama. You are an amazing wife. You've got this. I talk myself. Go to sleep, Onyx. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, little Onyx. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Do 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 do. All right, let's get going. I think nobody landed in the pool, right? Did anyone land in the pool and I just missed it because I'm crazy? Hold on, let me see here. Did anyone land in? No one landed in the pool. I'm not seeing anyone landed in the pool. Okay. All right. Did I mention drops? Yes, exclamation point drop. You guys are picking our maps whoever lands in the pool. Give back. I wish I could. I know, Ganon. I'm sad. I'm sad. I want everyone. The whole point of the community games is to be spending time with you guys. I want to hear you guys and play with you guys and talk to you guys and have a good time. At least tomorrow when we do Faz, we know that Faz will be able to be heard, right? Right? Guys. What if we talked through Discord? I think that'd be a lot, because then I can't mute anything. Right. Yeah, that'd be hard for me to do Discord. Tasha landed again at 82.62. Tasha gets to pick! Like, right now I can mute myself, but in Discord, my hot mic button isn't working. Ever since I switched to Elgato Wavelink, the hotkey for Discord doesn't work. I don't know if it's something I just did wrong, and I probably have to change it, but... Alright, Tasha, where are we going? Where are we going, Tasha? Don't forget, guys, we are going to be doing our last giveaway relatively soon, so exclamation point enter. Get yourself in the giveaway. If we're not friends on Steam, make sure you add me. Slowly, okay. Okay, here we go. Sewer. Low. You're the one that told me slow. I have never done the Exit 8 one. Deathburger, I've never done that one either. Let's go. Wait. Oh gosh, I have to put this back. There we go. All right. Oh, there was an ammo limit. Dang it! I forgot we restarted the map. Or we restarted the lobby. Oh gosh. Hey, Tasha, I listened. Okay, I listened to you today. I listened. It's a circus. You brought me to a... Tasha. 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 Tasha! A circus? I'm terrified of clowns! How was I to know? I don't know! I've never played this game. Ay. You playing with your cars? Wait, is that chicken nuggets? Wait, is that chicken nuggets? Hold. Wait, why is that like actually kind of amazing? Oh, I'm too big. Why am I too big? Let's try this. Can I become a piece of hay? There we go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. Okay, big. Get everything. Just get it all nice and good. Haha. Yoink. Yoink, 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 yoink. Turn it sideways. I'm turning. I'm not getting anything missed this time. Turn sideways to fit. Oh gosh. Okay. 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 We're already on to this one. Can't go back now. There's no going back. We're locked in, okay? We are locked in. Oh, that was too big. Help. Help. Guys, there's a Pokemon in chat. Exclamation Pokecheck to see if you have it. And Pokecheck. Or Pokecatch with the ball of your choosing if you don't have it. Or you just want another one. I mean, you don't have to. Like, you could have multiple ones. Okay. Make sure you guys really give your balls a good rub and a good blow before you throw them. It's good luck, okay? I know you guys yelled at me before about this, but it really is good luck. Just like when you're playing Yahtzee. Okay? Let's go. I don't... They're more random, isn't it? Like, it's more random. Yes, get into the giveaway, too. I want everyone in it. This doesn't feel right. Okay. It's fine. It's totally fine. Right, guys? Tell me it's fine. My proximity in front of you. Sorry for that. Okay, this is fine. It's good. Okay. This is so bad. I'm doing like one of my worst ones yet. Oh god. This is so bad. It's fine, right? You guys can't even tell. Yeah, you can't even tell. Right? 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 Oh gosh. Okay, let's see here. No. Okay. Okay, that's fine. How bad is this, guys? Guys, be honest with me. How bad is it? Oh, I didn't throw my ball at it. I was like, wait, why did I catch that one? I forgot to throw a ball. Duh. 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 Okay. Alright, that's fine. It's... Oh! Wait, hold on. I forgot my chest. I forgot my chesticles. Okay, there we go. Okay, 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 okay. This way. This way. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. How about we get you guys going with the number game? You guys want to play the number game? Let's do the number game. Just write a number in chat and then it'll tell you how close you are to it. If you're close, it will say it. It'll say like you're hot, like you're on lava or you're on fire. And if you're far away, it'll tell you you're cold, like a glacier. See here, who do we have online? Oh my gosh, guys, we're about to hit 1,900 followers. Holy macaroni. I didn't think that was ever gonna happen. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing the stream, for being here, for hanging out, and for being good friends. Well, I have to go back to Twitch over here. I forgot to do that. Okay, let's see here. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, we haven't been there in a while. I know we still have a couple more games, but I'm just checking, okay? I'm just checking. Oh, I wonder if we can go there. Do they accept raids? I kind of want to go there. They're so cute. Oh, I know where we're going. I know where we're gonna go. Ash is on. Go to T. When we're done here, we're gonna go to Tash. Yeah. Ash is such a cute bean. Because Tash is on, and then so is Epic. So many good friends on. We still have a while though. We're gonna do one more game, and then after one more game, we're going to do our last giveaway. And then it'll probably be time to take off. Breathe, guys, breathe. It's okay. It's okay, guys. Oh, I forgot I have stickers on my face. I was like, why am I so itchy? I'm fine. Oh, my Lanza. Oh, good grief. I worry about myself sometimes. I need water. What is everyone having for dinner today? John? What is everyone having for dinner? I'm making the spicy chicken sandwiches. I'm making spicy chicken sandwiches, onion rings, mozzarella sticks. My kids want it. And then coleslaw with some watermelon. I love watermelon. It's like one of my favorite things to eat. It's so good. With a little bit of tahini. Ooh. Watermelon's amazing. You guys are really on the roll with the number game. Get it! Get it, guys! Get it! You're practically touching the number! You're so close. You're so close! Woo! We got a winner! Mo got it! Go GG's Mo! Woohoo! I had Cheerios. Wait, what do you mean no? I said Mo. Wait, what did Mama say? Mama said, I had Cheerios, have had a rough day, so I went super simple. Aww. I'm sorry, Mama Truth. I'm really sorry. Wish I could make it better. Would you like me to wear a beard? Here, I'll make you laugh, Mama Truth. Mama Truth.
You could just call me Mr. Shishi. Yeah? How's that? Is that better?
Woo! Teriyaki pork. It's on my nose. Oh, it's in my mouth. It's in. I gotta sneeze. Teriyaki pork tenderloin butter noodles. It's in my mouth. Green beans. Ah! Get it out of my mouth. Get it out. Oh, I hear an ad. I have like a hit or miss thing with pork. I make it because it's really cheap here. It's literally like $4 for a whole container. Green beans I love, but Red hates. And I like noodles. Now you look like the Hubs. As long as I made you laugh. That's all that matters. I just want you to laugh.
Guys, nobody move. Nobody move.
I think I'm doing a pork steak, steamed veggies, and noodles. Ooh, you and Amber are on the same track.
Nobody breathe.
After this game, I gotta go start. I don't know when husband's gonna be home. Okie dokie, artichoke. I'm gonna play one more game, and then we're gonna do the giveaway, and then I'll be getting off. I just want to do a Minecraft map. Ah! That was loud. Thank you for the cat. Oh, this is one of my favorite songs. Get it! Not get it. Get it. Do I need anything for the giveaway? Exclamation point enter if you didn't do it already. I don't know. It's just exclamation point enter. Oh, well, you did already win one. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. I have your name written down right here. I have everyone's names written down. And I'm going to keep this list going all week. And then next week, when I have everything situated, I'm going to give everything out to all winners. Yeah, all winners will get everything next week. I just want to make sure I'm trying my best to do it as fair as possible and making sure everyone has a chance because, you know, I appreciate every single one of you here. Whether you're here lurking, whether you're gifting subs, whether you're sharing the stream, or just being you. I appreciate everyone being here, so I want everyone to have a chance. So I'm going to just get everyone's names, and then I'll get everyone who did the merch, and then I will gift everything out next week. And it's going to be like $100 later. Woo! We did it! All right, does anyone want to jump in for the final game? And no one can yell at me because I haven't looked at viewership. I keep reminding everyone, but I have not looked at it. So nobody can yell at me. Thank you for the Lurky Turkey, Stasha. Have fun. You made a really good hiding spots. I fell out of mine. Oh no, Gannon. I try. I mean, honestly, I feel like they're probably not very great. But I do try. I have a really hard time with the shading on this game. Although, like, even my emotes, if you look a lot, like, if you look at my emotes, I have a hard time with shading in general. I am definitely somebody who prefers, like, a charcoal method, like black and white, over adding in the color. Just because I feel like the color is never good enough. I don't mind if it's black and white and I look, like, I can look at, get off my throne, and I can look at it, but, like, when there's color adding in, I just feel like I'm not doing it. Let's see here. Oh, should we do Bob Ross? I like that one too. I kind of want to do Minecraft. No, let's do Bob Ross. Do Bob Ross and ammo limit off. Get that stinky patootie out of here. There we go. Let's go. Last one. Exclamation point enter, guys, to get yourself into the giveaway, please. I want to make sure everyone's in the giveaway. And then tomorrow is going to be Faz Community. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday are all going to be Faz Community games. I thought it was for a drop. Yeah, we were doing that before, but I went to oh, I'm screwed. I wanted to do just one more, so I picked it. All right, what should we do, guys? Tell me, what should we do? What should be our thing? I have made so many people laugh with the Patrick one. I didn't realize it was so funny to do Patrick. Let's do him again. It's been a minute. Let's do some Patrick Star. I love Patrick though. And make sure you guys are checking to see if you guys are getting your badges, please and thank you. As, we don't have enough time yet for the watch badge, but I think I did that for 4 hours. Oh, why do I look so glossy? I don't want to be like that. No metallic. Oh, that looks worse. Why? 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 Okay, there we go. I was like, why do I look so glossy? I forgot what I was saying now. It's gone. It's gone from my brain. It's just gone. Oh gosh. And then if we hit the 300 mark for the subs, we will be doing a day for you guys to buy my pizza. What we'll be doing is we'll just literally, I'll be pulling up Papa John's on the computer, so you guys can see what the toppings are, and then you guys will be ordering the pizza like that. Okay, let's go to this one. Let's make it a little bit smaller, because now we gotta do his. I feel like I am bright colors. Why is it so bright? Gosh. Okay. Who's excited for Faz Community Days tomorrow? I am so happy that they fixed Faz. I even was able to get red on it, guys. I was even able to get red on it. I'm so happy. Like, I needed them to fix it. And I'm so happy they did. Ah! Okay, there we go. Now we need the purple. Kind of like a purplish pink. Okay, let's zoom in. I love the new Willow. Oh my god, me too. Me too, Croissant. I said I like it more than the old Willow. I mean, I liked Willow Street before. It wasn't my favorite. I mean, it was like up there. But I really like the new one. I love all the cat stuff. I just love it. I'm allergic to cats, but I love it. And I love the way that they placed the cursed objects. It just makes more sense. The cursed objects make sense. And I like that. I like that they make sense. Okay, now we need a belly button. Technically his belly button's deeper, isn't it? Or like a deeper color. Yes, it makes it more homely. I agree. I agree. Okay, and then we need to do this. For the dots. Hi, JC. He has like all these little dots around him. Okay. And then let's do his face. I love Patrick. I'm gonna do horribly on the face, by the way, guys. I'm in danger. Playing with Lily. JC is tickling Lily, guys. Jace is just tickling Lily, having the time of his little life. Okay, let's go like that. That's so bad. Okay, oh, too high! Me and the person I always play with keep throwing stuff in case of— I love that! I love the new ghost. I am not afraid to be very honest if it's something I don't like. Right? Like, I will be brutally honest. But I am extremely happy with the new rework. I am very happy with it, actually. I like it a lot. I think they did a good job. This is probably the first rework that I really, really like. Because, like, Bleasdale... So, like, when Bleasdale came out, I was always so frustrated with Bleasdale because it was always crashing my computer. Okay, sorry guys. What was I saying? I don't remember. I don't remember what I was saying. I will be the first one to say if I don't like it. I'm not afraid to do that. Like, I'm not stepping on people's toes, but I'm not going to, like, bow down either. There has been so many times I've lost out on money because of it kicking me for no reason. Yeah, that too. Oops, sorry. I'm hungry. I just realized I haven't eaten. Angels. Adora. Okay, let's go. Remember, guys, exclamation point, enter, get yourself in. Oh. I'm so screwed. I can hear you guys. Can you hear me? I can hear somebody. Same. Same. I thought so too. Let's see here. Huh. I'm seeing if I could see. Oh, I saw somebody! Where? Where did I see them? I don't know. I'm so blind. Guys, I'm extremely blind. Even with my glasses on. God, this is so hard. It's hard. I hear you. I hear you, Kenan. Let's see here. Okay, I haven't seen them again, though. Wait, whoa! That jump! It went from like 100 to 900.
Oh, geez, he's hunting.
I don't see. I can't see. I have no
Oh,
idea.
I can hear.
You can hear me? I hear you. Wait, can you hear me? I hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
I can't hear you. You can hear me.
I can hear you.
I just unmuted the stream. Hang on, let me try. Oh,
As
no,
long as
it's,
I
it's
keep-
only working on my end for some reason.
I don't know, but I can hear you. I can hear you. I'll take it.
So it's probably the headset part then.
Maybe. I mean, it's
Or the
my
mic part,
AirPods.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, I'm gonna keep moving for now.
That's why I haven't been crunching in your ear. I've been eating food.
No, I just started hearing you when I came in here. So you're good. Oh gosh, I am so in trouble. I am not gonna find anyone.
Nice.
I am blind as a bat. Oh. Oh no. Okay, I don't know who's here. Lily. Hey. Lily. Stop.
I just heard him.
Sorry. Lily. It was Lily. Blame Lily, guys. Oh gosh. Lily.
Okay.
Not at our house.
Hi,
Literally,
Lily.
someone is just parked
You
outside. That's
triggered
it.
my dog.
I'm sorry, Croissant. Is she really that loud?
Your dog triggered my dog. I just read.
I'm not.
If you don't have a headset on, probably.
They weren't even staying there. They were just parked for a second. Oh god, I saw everyone at some point. Wait. Oh no. Y'all won. I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, y'all won. Okay. No. Oh god, I was looking at Kimmy for a hot minute. Wait, that looks different. Nope. Just my eyes. Wait, that's illegal. I see you. Chaos. You're on my phone so he can hear everything. Oh no. Listen, I know you guys feel bad for me. I know I'm blind. It's okay. Oh my gosh, I've looked at Kimmy a lot. Kimmy!
You are not. This is a hard map.
It is a hard map. It is, and y'all are
If you
really
want,
good.
I can give you a hint, and it's only and it's.
I know you're somewhere over here. Does it help if you lay down? How do I lay down?
My hint is I'm in one of the top 3 paintings.
I know you're over here.
I'm only.
I saw you. Well, I didn't see you, but I saw that the thing kept going up. I don't actually see you. That's the problem. Okay, so laying down does kind of help. I didn't know
I don't
that
know who you're seeing.
it was making your thing go up. Maybe? Maybe not. I'm just blind as a bat. Oh! Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Oh! Oh, I was so close! I shot so close to Kimmy! I was so close! I
You
see
were
it
very
now.
close to Kimmy.
Oh my gosh. I was really far off from you. I was looking at the whole other page. Oh my
I just paint
goodness.
myself like the bush and then use the lighter colors to sprinkle.
All right, thank you so much, guys. I am going to be getting off. And doing our last giveaway. Yeah, you guys can't hear me, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna head on out. All right, my friends, remember it is !enter to get yourself into the giveaway. This is our final one for today, but we're gonna have giveaways all week long. It's supposed to be. Hold on, I need to get off of this. When I hear the music on this game, it like drives me crazy. Okay, thanks for the games. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate you being here and hanging out. It was great. All right, let's see here. Let's get this last one. Okay, so this is the deal, right? We have, let me do this. This is our thing for this week, right? So 20 gifted subs, you get to write your name on my head. If you gift 50 subs, you get a diamond badge. You get the VIP badge. We have a daily gift giveaway unless we hit 20 subs. If we hit 20 subs, then it's going to another giveaway. Merch, every 4 merch that is sold this week will be another merch giveaway, but we have 3 merch giveaways on Wednesday. Am I forgetting anything? You guys are adorable. How's that? You guys are absolutely adorable. Thank you so much for today. I appreciate you. I have not figured out how to do a vertical goodbye screen yet. So I won't be doing that. Let's do our final giveaway. !enter to get into it. Drum roll, please. When I get that stream deck, I'm gonna do a drum roll. Okay. Hi, Uvu. On your mark. I hear. Wait, hold on. I hear. Modified ads. Ooh. Hold on, I'm gonna wait. Pedro. All right. Final giveaway. Let's do this. Okay. Here we go. Last one for the day. And our winner is croissants. Let's go. Woo! GG's. I'm taking off my stickers now because I'm getting itchy. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the 30. Holy, wait, how much did you guys stop? 30 plus 15 is 45 plus another 5, 50, 55, 60. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you for the 60 gifted subs today. Holy crap. That's it for this entire week, right? We're done? Yeah. Let me write down your name, croissant. Okay, let's see here. Last one is remember, my friends, if we are not friends on Steam, I do need your friendship there. Next week, I will be gifting out to everyone who has won for this entire week. So I'm just going to wait until I have everybody. And then once we have everybody, then they will all be gifted out. I'm just trying to keep it fair and square and all those good things. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for putting up for me. I know it was a little bit rough at the beginning of stream. Talking about my panic attacks and all this other stuff.
Right. As in,
Thank you
I
for
really
collecting
need
your copy. Talking about the panic attacks and all those other things, it was rough. So I do apologize, and I do thank you so much for the friendships. The last 2 years on Twitch have been absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see what the next 2 years bring, or anything else moving forward. I really am gracious and appreciative of you guys. All right, let's head on out. Wow, y'all! I just got a notification. Guys, who's that? Who works at Papa John's? I literally just got a notification from Papa John's for 50% off. Who works at Papa John's and was saying it? All right, grab the raid message if you can. Let's head on out. Let's see here. I am going to go over to the stream is ending. I'm going to try doing it on vertical, but I don't know. Fine. No. No pineapple on pizza. Wait, the person I was going to raid to is off. Rude. Hold on. Oh, I know. Okay, we're going to go over there. We're going to go over to Robin Sky. Robin has come over here quite a few times with her community. Absolute adorable bean. I think you guys are going to love her. So let's go over there. Give some follows. If you could, give some fire. Just be yourselves. Be amazing, because that's what you guys are. And you guys are going to have a great time over there. I'm just trying to find her on the raid thing now because it's not working. It's not showing me that she is here. But the other one showed me it was. So I'm going to look until I see her. This is illegal. Okay. Where'd she go? Did she get off? Oh my god, is this the second person to get off? I'm going to crash. Guys, I'm going to crash out. Oh my land says she did. I don't see her at all in here anymore. Oh, there she is. Okay, I found her. Okay, we got it. All right, guys, make sure you grab that raid message. Let's go. Come with me, please.